Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to SpawnCast episode 317. There's more soundboard stuff tonight, so get ready. But we have quite the week behind us now to go over, and actually quite the week to look forward to. But I do have a bunch of people here with me tonight. That includes Jordan Fringe back again. How many weeks is this now in a row?
At least 7. I think people are counting. Is it 7? Is it 7 or 8? Somewhere around there.
What's the Jordan count?
Yeah, keep
Might
count.
be enough to where we don't have to count anymore.
Almost.
Okay, it's good to have
we're
Jordan.
getting there. Yeah, glad to
have Jordan here. We got MVG.
Hello. It's great to be here.
Very good.
Thank
We got Josie's with us tonight. Josie, how we doing?
Good. I got my Tears of the Kingdom OLED came in, so I'm pretty hyped.
Did you get a chance to check out the screen?
Not yet. I still have it in the box.
You keeping it sealed? Are you going to do an unboxing video? What's going on?
I'll probably do an unboxing once I get Tears of the Kingdom. I'll put them together in like the same video.
Okay. Yeah, you got to get your reaction to the first time you turn the OLED on because it is genuinely impressive.
Okay,
the screen compared to the old one. Yeah, it is very, very good. Very cool though. Very cool. We got Sean RGT here.
Hello.
Have Sean here. OJ Player is here. Let's hold up the pre-show.
Yeah, it was fun. I also got a Tears of the Kingdom Switch, but I'm giving this one away. Plug. Subscribe to Player Essence on YouTube. You can win one.
Check it out. When you giving it away? The day of release?
May 12th.
Okay, there it is. May 12th.
Yes, sir.
Make sure you check that out. Yeah. And we got Evan here with us tonight.
Yep.
Good to have Evan here, expert in Redfall. I know he was on it, so we'll get his thoughts on Redfall.
I avoided that shit like the plague.
Well, it was a week for Redfall. It was a week for Xbox, and there's a lot there just to go over. So
I don't think Dreamcast guy made enough videos about it this week, bro.
Hey man, that interview was crazy. So there was a lot in that interview. As I've watched it like 3 times, and just it's constant information coming out of that. It's quite the picture there. Redfall released, which we're gonna give our thoughts on Redfall because we actually beat the game. As weird as that sounds, we actually beat it. So. And we know how many other people most likely beat it because we saw the last achievement percentage.
Yeah, we saw all those.
We will share that.
Reviewers that claim that they beat the game. We know who the real people that beat the game are.
We will share some of those percentages when we get into that. The Xbox Showcase got a well-timed announcement again, and then we had Sony actually shutting down a studio. Made me maybe a little sad, actually.
No, I don't think anyone's sad about that.
I was kind of sad. Okay, I was a little sad. Disappointed. We'll talk about it. Evan, we got a Discord question over there.
Let's go with how long do you think the Destiny 2 servers will last for?
Oh, gosh. People now are calling for Destiny 3 in that community. Maybe they just want... I will tell you this. I don't really have interest in Destiny 2 because we've fallen so far behind. I would have interest in checking out Destiny 3 if it was just a clean break start.
But in theory, Destiny 2 became Destiny 3 when they deleted all like the starting planets and made you start at a different storyline, so you were caught up for a little bit.
I just want to give me Destiny 3 and I'll check it out again. It still said Destiny 2. I was worried. But yeah, if they went Destiny 3 and it was like a whole new game and all this, then I'd be more interested in checking it out. But I don't know. Destiny 2, I guess it still works for them. So go until the wheels fall off. Oh, Destiny 1 servers are actually still up, someone said. So it's going to be a while.
All right. Redfall was announced as a one last thing during Xbox's showcase back in 2021. Were there other one last thing announcements that ended up being this disappointing?
Yes, Fast and the Furious.
That was a solid announcement.
That ended the Video Game Awards one year.
Yep.
That was pretty bad. I from first parties. Maybe we could go back to the Wii days with Nintendo when they were announcing things like Wii Music and stuff. Maybe there was a weird PS3 announcement back in the day when that Sony was kind of lost there for a year or two. I don't know. I can't think of anything off the top of my head that's like Fast and the Furious level. Redfall's close. I don't know. Those are 2 low points for sure to close out a showcase with. So do we just want to start with Redfall?
Yeah, rip the Band-Aid off, John.
Oh, also we are going to give our predictions for Zelda Metacritic as well to see if anyone can get it right. Redfall. Okay, let's just get right into Redfall. This game. It released Monday night, 8 p.m. Eastern. Started playing it. A bunch of issues immediately with the game, just running correctly and getting into parties and all of this. But we did make it happen. We spent the time in co-op throughout the week to get through it. It did drop to some pretty bad Metacritic scores, though. I think it's currently sitting in the 50s on both
59.
Xbox and PC. 59, yeah, okay. 59, I see it there on Xbox. On PC, it's a 56. So that is...
How does that work?
Well, I mean, I will say the PC version, while it is better than the Xbox Series, it was still kind of acting up a bit when I moved over to my PC here.
Yeah,
So,
same.
Still some
Well, yeah,
weird
but I mean,
stuff happening.
I would think it would be higher because it's a better running version of the game.
Well, running,
it's
but
different-
the
it's different
gameplay still
reviews,
has
right?
to be there. Like it really does.
I mean, there's also, I think there's DRM intertwined with it as well on PC,
that's-
and you get into de novo stuff, and that's questionable.
Is the AI
But-
still bad? Like the AI
Yeah,
still
Yeah.
bad?
yeah.
Yeah, it's just the AI is laughable in the game at times. One time I went through a door and I was stuck and I couldn't I'm like, why am I stuck? And I spin all the way around and there's just an enemy behind me standing there. Like they won't move. They're just staring at me. So I just punch them a couple times and they die. And they'll just stare right at you sometimes. And then
Yeah.
other times it's weird. They're just incredible crack shots. They'll
Yeah.
just wipe you out. I'm like, what is happening? It's the weirdest thing sometimes. But the game is, I guess it's Far Cry with vampires is the best way I can describe it.
Is it though?
No,
I don't get a
I
Far
think
Cry vibe from it at all.
it wants to be, but it's not. I don't think.
Well, what would you compare it to?
I mean, do you have to compare it to something?
Well, I mean, if you're trying to give, I guess, just the best comparison, so people are picturing this game, what they're trying to.
Left 4 Dead with a hub world,
Left 4 Dead with a hub world.
and nowhere near as good.
what about
well, okay.
Borderlands?
What?
I hear Borderlands that gets thrown out there
You
occasionally.
put a little Borderlands in there. I mean, it's just a game. It's a game that's like 65% done. Like
Yeah.
there's some like obviously it was
So like
decent
Halo on
enough.
release day.
Yeah, it was.
No, it's worse than Halo at this point. I gotta say it's worse than Halo easily.
Oh, yeah.
There's some decent ideas. There's some really creative things that you end up finding, but they're few and far between. The AI is atrocious. The game looks like a last generation game. It's technically buggy. The story is laughable. The cutscenes are literal like 2-frame comics. It's a game that was clearly rushed to the marketplace, which we already knew because of the fact that the 60 frames per second wasn't available on day one, with a on console with a self-imposed deadline that pretty much I think fucked the game. Because if you give it a couple more months of seasoning, you work out some of the kinks, you might have a decent game here. I like, what does Arcane do? Because they're planning on working on this game and like getting it up to snuff and adding in content into it and stuff. It's like, but why? Nobody's playing the game. Nobody beat the game. It took
All
us,
right, go ahead, Sean. Hit him with some of the percentages.
everything was like 0.2 0.3%. When we finished the game, I think it was 0.2%. It took us, my play time was 10 hours and 40 minutes. And that was getting stuck at something because we couldn't find a fucking key for a while. Like it's $70. It's their first $70 game. And it's like, there has to be responsibility. And it doesn't seem like there's any sort of responsibility. And I get what people are going to say, oh, Microsoft Flight Simulator, Hi-Fi Rush. We're not talking about stuff like that. We're talking about, bigger AAA exclusive titles. And it's just a lot of them have been undercooked and disappointing thus far.
I have that written down for the Phil Spencer interview. There's like 8 points.
Yeah, I mean, this was supposed to be the kind of the first next generation, first party Xbox game, and it came out of the gate and it just completely bombed. It's very unfortunate. And yeah, I mean, I agree with Sean. Like everything you said is 100% accurate. They messed this one up. I don't really know how the game ended up getting basically released in the way it did. And I think we've talked about Redfall for the last 3 weeks, and we've said the same things over and over. But I just don't understand what went wrong here. Why no one just basically put a stop to this and said, look, we can't do this. We can't launch this in the state that it's in. We have to take more. We either have to just cancel the game or take more time to make sure it works properly, because the way we're releasing it is not good, and that's the backlash that we've seen this week.
This is a game I would have put on the shelf, or I would have just canceled outright. The thing that's weird to me is they're surprised by the reception of this game. So,
which once again says a lot about the company.
I don't, because the first hour of this game, you could tell it's not a good game. I don't understand. So that's where I was confused. I don't know where the disconnect is. That if Phil Spencer played the game, he would know I assume would know it's a bad game. He plays Destiny.
Well,
Destiny too.
Didn't he say he played Redfall and then it was found out that he only played 30 minutes of the game?
I think people found that on his profile. Well, it was his public profile, but you assume they're playing builds and stuff. I'm trying, Phil. I'm trying.
I mean, if he was playing like a build at the studio or whatever, that wouldn't show up on his actual.
But no, I get what you're saying, Sean. It's not leisure time gaming for him technically.
I mean, I don't see, that's the thing. I don't necessarily expect him to be a super, hardcore gamer or anything like that. But he kind of puts that persona out into the air. A lot of the suits aren't like that. Iwata was kind of an anomaly because your current president, for Kara, you ever hear him talk?
Yeah, you see Jim Ryan hold that controller.
Yeah, they're business people at the end of the day, but it's just like a weird image that they put out there.
This game did damage to Xbox. I will say that it feels different online because of this one game. How it is now, maybe I guess just the buildup of things over the last several years, really going back to the late Xbox 360 era. This game was like, this is the straw that broke the camel's back. It feels like
it's the buildup. It's not if Xbox last year, let's just say they had 2 really good AAA games. People would just be like, yeah, it sucks, but yeah.
Starfield, let's say Starfield came out last year, original time, 95 Metacritic.
Or
people would just be like, well.
I'll even take it a step further. Like, let's just say Halo Infinite was dope, like really good, and still being supported very well, and Starfield came out last year, and that was it. Just Starfield and Halo was good. It wouldn't be as bad. I don't think it would be as bad, but Halo, people are looking at that. I think it all goes back to Halo, man. I think a lot of this stuff just goes back to Halo, not being what it's like. They messed up Halo. What's going to happen to the rest of the franchises if they messed up Halo? I think that's what I hear a lot from, people's like Xbox guys, like,
Thank you. So, but
it's over. I said it in my video. It kind of feels like almost like a modern day Sega. And I don't mean that they're going to end up like Sega, but it's a very overpromise, underdeliver situation. And
what era of Sega are you talking about? Sega Saturn? Is that the era you're talking about? Or Sega Saturn. Okay.
When they were overpromising and underdelivering on a lot of fronts.
So I'm beating Redfall into the ground right now. Let me see. Hold on. I'm going to say something nice about Redfall.
Gotta find the positive.
Hold on.
Yeah, it's hard to find some positives.
I'm scrolling. No, I had notes down. I'm scrolling. I usually have negatives, positives, conclusion in here.
It is a fun co-op game. I will say that.
Positives. Got it. Okay. It is completely untethered for co-op.
Yep.
As in, you go anywhere in the town, and you don't have to worry about being within proximity of someone. It doesn't tell you you got to stop or you're going to be teleported back. You can just run where you want. You can go either side of the map. So the exploration is I would say is the big plus here for that, but the map is not big. So I immediately stepped on that.
There's technically 2 maps.
Okay, there's 2 maps.
Which I'm sure all the reviewers can tell you about.
Yep.
There's 2 maps technically because there's a point where they cut you off. And then, by the way, when you beat the game, they don't ask if you want to do New Game Plus. They just throw you into New Game Plus. Nate probably found that out because...
And then what the fuck was that last boss?
Okay, the last boss was pretty... Look, most people are going to play the last boss. The last boss wasn't good. Like that, there were... Some of the other bosses were definitely better, yes.
It was like... Okay, here's how the last boss worked. It got to the point of where I was like, I think this is the final thing. And everyone was like, no, there's going to be something after we do this. And then we did it. And then it was it. That was it. And I was
waiting
like,
for phase 2. Yeah. You know,
yeah,
like
it was like a phase 2 situation, and phase 2 never came.
Go straight to the credits.
yeah.
Didn't even warn you about it. Just bang in the credits.
Yeah. And the loot's not fun. Like Jordan, Borderlands, I could be like, you know, it doesn't, but then I look at the guns, I'm like, yeah, there's like 1 million some odd guns. They're interesting. They're fun. No memorable guns from this game. The abilities, we never used them. I mean,
oh my God.
For the sniper, maybe, but like the bird, I forgot I had a bird the whole time.
It was so pointless.
They all controlled the same for the most part, the characters. So you would at least hope they'd feel more unique. And we played through half the game without using any abilities, and we had no problem playing through the game.
I didn't even really upgrade my skill tree either. We played the game on there's 4 difficulties. We played it on the middle one, but I never really upgraded my skill tree. And like, there's just weird difficulty spikes. Like all of a sudden, like when we were like probably 75% of the way through the game, it was just like all of a sudden, like, okay, there's a boss called Miss Whisper. And like that boss battle was just very difficult. And then everything else beyond that was just like way noticeably difficult, like almost to slow you down. Excuse me.
Yep.
You know what's really weird about this though? It's Arcane. Does not feel like Arcane at all. It feels like they were bored the whole time they developed this game, to where they have the typical video game tropes where it's like, okay, you can go do this if you have 3 skulls of these vampires. Like, where do I get those from? You got to do all these safe houses on the map to get a skull. And it's like, oh, but I need 3 of them for some reason. Yes. We're not padding the game. You just need 3 skulls. Go do it. So it just unfortunately feels like they kind of phoned it in with this one. I see no reason for them to try to turn this into a Sea of Thieves situation and attempt to save it. I say
it needs to be a Pokemon where you just move on from it.
I say you fulfill
performance patch incoming, kids. It's coming.
I say you fulfill their previous obligations. They said they would add, I think, 2 heroes or something.
Why? Well, no, they have to
bugs.
Isn't it 4? Because there's 8. It says there's 8 characters, but you only have 4 in the game.
It's time to outsource and phone this one into. But Arcane needs to be onto something else. I don't know what this was or how this happened, but this wasn't it for them.
So. I mean, and it happens. Like, let's get that out of the way. Every company has made a game that it's like, holy shit. But, and I mean, obviously we'll talk about that a bit more with the Phil stuff. But it just seems like Xbox has good niche games, such as your Microsoft Flight Simulator.
It's one of those nights.
Yeah, one of those nights. You know, they have some solid AA stuff like Hi-Fi Rush. But the one thing that people constantly want from them, the single player experience, it's like they don't seem to care, you know. And I get it, you know. Oh, Fable's coming out. Oh, Perfect Dark. We don't know about those games.
Yeah, right now I'm not.
You could take a Fable and make it an online game. You could take a Perfect Dark and make it an online game. It doesn't necessarily have to have a strong single player component. And you've seen nothing from those games.
And I think that's the concern, right? And this is more about the Phil stuff, and we'll talk about. But like, it seems like right now people are having a lot of difficulty believing Xbox right now. You know, that they can deliver these good experiences. Like Fable and Perfect Dark they should knock both of those games out of the park. But now all of us are thinking to ourselves, are they going to knock it out of the park? You know, we don't really know. And I think we're starting to second guess a little more about, you know, what they're giving us and stuff. And I think that's the real difficult part I think Xbox has to figure out, you know.
Jordan, you played Redfall?
Nope.
Good choice.
Stayed away.
You still liking Jedi Survivor though?
Well, yeah, I beat it last Sunday.
Still working through it. It's good though. It's good. Josie, I assume you beat the game.
I actually really tried to play this game, but
did you really? Oh wow, okay.
My Xbox is not connecting. Like, I even got Game Pass because I wanted to check it out, but my Xbox is not connecting to the internet currently. So
you have Game Pass though? You got Game Pass?
Yeah.
Oh,
DRM issues.
Jedi Fallen Order's on there. Just saying.
I'll play it then.
Okay. Hey, you know what?
I tried.
Give it a shot. when the internet comes back, go ahead. Just see what happens. I would recommend Jedi Fallen Order first, though. How about that?
Okay.
A good game. Evan, you played it, What? Okay.
You were like, play it with us, and I was sitting there thinking, I'm going to spend $70 on this. Then I
No,
watched a
gosh,
video,
don't do
and
that.
I went, I'm not spending $70 on this.
I've
Don't
got
do that.
14 days of Game Pass for free. I'll just give you that next time.
I don't
There
want
you
it.
go. You can play it for 14 days. All right. So Redfall, it's out. What do you say, Sean, about it? You described it best. It's a perfect what?
It's a perfect Game Pass.
There you go. Go ahead. If you have Game Pass, give it a download. I think it's like a 80 some odd gigabytes.
100 gigabytes, no big deal. That's the other thing. Well, where is the 100 gigabytes
I
going?
don't
Exactly.
I don't know.
Sorry, no offense. That's a perfect waste of time. I'm not wasting my time downloading 100 gigabytes for fucking Redfall.
I don't know. I mean, I sit through the weird things that happen in Jedi Survivor because it's a legitimately good game. I can't say the same for Redfall, so it's a
100
skip.
gigabytes.
It's a skip.
Yeah, it is.
So,
Good.
but there you go. That's Redfall. Evan, we got a Discord question over there.
We had one kind of related to those Metacritic scores for this. Why is the Xbox score technically higher than the PC one? But I think we kind of touched on that a little bit because of all the extra bugs. So we'll just go with, is Kotaku sensitive enough to leak another AAA game again like they did to Tears of the Kingdom?
What do you think, Sean? What do you think about Kotaku?
Kotaku is fucking dumpster juice trash. And I will say that this is just me speaking, but I have yet to find a person that works there that's not a complete fucking piece of shit. Self-entitled fucking whiny crybabies is what they are. And
No, fuck all of you.
exactly. They're absolutely ridiculous. And you know what? I'm gonna take credit for burying that fucking guy who put the fucking World War II plane up there and said, "This is what it feels like when Nintendo." Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up.
I mean, well, a lot of people made videos on that.
No, I'm talking about him deleting his tweet because that tweet had been up for a while, and then I brought attention to it, and then all of a sudden it got deleted.
And then apologizing.
I couldn't see the apology because he blocked me.
Okay, hold up. Here's the thing, guys. So the dude said that he
Luke
deleted
Plunkett.
it. He doubled down on it. That's where some of you guys missed. He doubled down on the tweet because he posted a link. Or
Well,
he
Sean
posted-
was blocked. He couldn't see it.
Yeah, he doubled down on that, and then later afterwards he said he apologized, but then also said, "But this is my explanation. This is my," instead of just apology, he was saying he tried to make more excuses. He didn't want to do that. Somebody at Kotaku, his boss, or
Well, yeah,
somebody told him to apologize.
It had to be that Patricia, who's the editor in chief there, because he was a senior editor. So
Because-
I don't think there's anyone above him
Because
beyond Patricia.
he absolutely doubled down on that tweet. He said, "Oh,
Go
I'm
hard
used to
or
wake,
go
you know."
little.
I'm used to waking up with people, you know, psychotic Xbox fans. That it's refreshing to have Nintendo fans. And he posted a link to the tweet. Like he posted a screenshot. So it's not like he had an opportunity to apologize for it then, and he didn't. So he just deleted it because he was getting so much crap. But he wasn't sorry that he said it. And even after he posted the apology, he's not sorry. You know, even though he says that he is, he's not. Otherwise, he wouldn't have doubled and tripled down on the same damn tweet, even after he deleted it.
Let's talk about this Phil interview. There's a lot going on here with this this interview, mostly because there are some quotes in here that they're pretty wild. I will say that, to the point where people are trying to decipher, read between the lines.
All for Phil's job.
There's a lot here. Yeah. Well, we can start from the top. This was on the Kind of Funny Xcast where they had Phil Spencer on. I do wonder if
Shout out to them for asking hard questions, by the way.
they did. They did.
I always give credit where credit is due, and I think they did a great job.
Yes, they didn't softball them questions or any of that. And I want to first comment on Phil in general. He seemed pretty stressed.
I mean, he's had a bad couple of weeks.
Yeah, he looked like he was going through it. Probably didn't get a lot of sleep recently. He was he seemed kind of annoyed towards the end of the interview. He had what seemed like some frustrations. Started kind of talking with the hand a little bit. It's okay. Yeah, he's having a great time right now, which I do wonder if they set this plans for this interview up before review scores drop for Redfall. because he showed up a day later. Yeah,
it was probably well in advance. Like to get like an executive, you'd have to plan it.
Yeah.
Fairly well
So
in advance.
I think the day before Redfall, day and a half before Redfall reviews went live at the 50s, and I do think first we'll talk about Phil because people have been calling for his job, which I feel like if you wake up one day and there is headlines that Phil has been ousted at Xbox and Microsoft, he's out, I would actually be concerned about Xbox's future then. That's when I'd be like, okay, what's about to happen to Xbox? Because he's basically the reason Xbox even, I don't say exists right now, because they still probably trademark it and stuff, but it would not have the backing it has now if Phil didn't make the pitch to Satya Nadella at the time that they could intertwine gaming with cloud and kind of showed them the light, if you will, with gaming, because they were actually doing budget cuts for Xbox after Don Matrick got done with it. So I think Phil should remain like head of Xbox. Obviously, I think he should stay there. But I will get more into some things they should probably change when it comes to their process and structure as we go. Well, let's start with go ahead. Were you saying something, MVG?
Oh, no, go. You go ahead.
Okay. I was gonna start with, well, there's a bunch of quotes here. Windows Central went through and transcribed a lot of the key points, so shout out to them. But for Redfall, because obviously they were going to question him immediately on that, like what happened here exactly. He says first he mentioned that they had been going through it with the 60 FPS stuff because obviously that was a talking point for them. And he said, I'm upset with myself, including the pre-released ball drop on not being able to achieve 60 FPS on Xbox consoles at launch. That was kind of a punch, kind of our punch in the chin, rightfully. So they also make mention, it sounded like they kind of knew what they were doing with the marketing at 60 frames. Like they knew it wasn't going to have 60 frames at launch, even though they showed it a lot. So that was kind of questionable throughout that. But one thing I won't do is push against creative aspirations of our teams. I know a lot of people will say, hey, you've got teams that know how to do one kind of game, just force them to go do the one kind of game they have a proven track record for. I'm just not a believer in that. Maybe that means I'll underdeliver for some of our fans out there. We will build games that review in the high 80s and we'll build games that review in the 60s. I mean, it's just kind of part of being in game publishing. If you're afraid of that, then you shouldn't be in the entertainment business. You shouldn't be in the gaming business. He goes on to say that the review scores came in double digits lower than what they were expecting based on internal reviews. And these companies all run mock reviews and just to kind of get a gauge where they are with these games for quality. And obviously it's all building up a brand and an image and for them a service with Game Pass. I have no idea how that happened. And it's like they eternally. I don't know
which yes men were given these.
Exactly. Whichever company they've hired to do mock reviews, fire them immediately. Sean, Nate, myself, we're available. We'll do it for free. We'll review your game. We'll come and do it for nothing.
I don't know about for free.
All right, we'll do it for.
I'll do it for $20. Let's go.
But,
I'll do it for less than what Nate said he heard that some people get paid.
I don't know what that is, but anyway, yeah,
you were there.
They need to clear out whatever mock review team they have and get some real people in there to really tell them what's wrong with the game.
I feel like, I don't mean to hark on things, but I almost feel like a broken record when we talk about anything Xbox or Phil Spencer related, because haven't we've been saying it feels like there's a bunch of yes men there, and it's not the right people that are, and it's not just from the game reviewers or the subject reviewers, whatever the fuck you call them. It seems like it's just a whole trickle down effect where everyone is just a yes men, kumbaya, take your time sort of situation. And in theory, that's a perfect world, but the world isn't perfect. So sometimes you have to make decisions that are unfortunate and this, that, and the other. It just, the whole interview, it seemed to me like Phil just sounded defeated. He didn't have, he didn't have his usual pizzazz. He's always a decent showman, a decent speaker. He like, how many times has he fooled people at E3s where, this next year is going to be the big year for Xbox? And everyone's like, yeah, fuck yeah, this is going to be it. This is going to be it. And then it's like, it doesn't happen. It's or something happens, and then this, that, and the other. I
feel like kind of funny we're able to get him to divert off his kind of set responses to questions that he always gets asked, because they really kind of went in. And you're right, John, I felt like they made him, well, I don't think they made him feel uncomfortable, but he was obviously very uncomfortable during that.
I think he expected it just to be a fucking chill session. Like a lot of I when I heard it, I was like, oh, okay, here we go. The usual suspects asking the bullshit questions, but they did a good job, and they all salute. Like, that was they got some great sound quotes.
I feel like you would probably have to give him an idea of the questions you're going to ask ahead of time.
I think he went in knowing that there was going to be some tough questions.
I will say this, OJ, as you're going here, I kind of feel like, again, they set this up before Redfall reviews dropped. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go. I mean, I just think that I don't think he went in there blindsided. Like, I mean, what else were they going to talk about? There was already some stuff where people were upset with, but I know Redfall was the issue, but there was already some other things, like with the AAA games and stuff like that, like what's going on, So with the 60 frames, like even before the reviews, like the issue was like, hey, well, you guys said 60.
Oh, it's online.
Always online. So there was already even issues before the reviews dropped. So I think, and there was the CMA thing that was also a block where that didn't go through, right? So I think he kind of knew there was going to be some stuff, with that. But the reviews obviously didn't help. But I mean, I don't think Phil Spencer should be fired. Like, I just feel that he should just probably bring in somebody else to.
Somebody needs every situation. Good cop, bad cop.
Yeah.
Who is the bad cop?
Who's the
Microsoft?
The foot down guy? Like the
you need an enforcer to come in and just people have things it's going to be.
It's interesting. I don't know how true this is. Maybe MVG has heard stuff, but I've heard that Shuhei over at Sony, probably back when he was more involved with a lot of stuff, it's kind of the bad cop at times.
Dude, look at that. Watch that Raising Kratos documentary.
Yeah, he was like, he played God of War and he was mad. It's like,
the thing about it though is that Sony's whole culture is bad cop. That God of War documentary isn't the first. That's the rehash of already what happened with the original God of War, and then God of War 2, and almost all of them. Look at what happened with Days Gone. Days Gone sold really well. It didn't review well. So there was hell to pay when Days Gone came out. Like, all the people the lead people that made Days Gone from Sony, they're all gone. And that game didn't review well. Sony was pissed. Like, the immediate changes in terms of the leadership, and I think it's Sony Bend. So it's like Sony's culture is complete. It's, I would say, even a bit stressful, in terms of from who I spoke with and what they do there, So it's just different, from Microsoft, it seems.
This is the quote that, I mean, really blew up the internet, and it had to do with Xbox versus Nintendo versus PlayStation, specifically the consoles themselves. So there's a little bit of context here, but as soon as you get to one part, it was over. Every videos popping up, tweets happening. I think it was probably a bad way for him to phrase it. It is too late. It just is. He said, "We're not in the business of out-consoling Sony or out-consoling Nintendo. There isn't really a great solution or win for us, and I know that will upset a ton of people, but it's just the truth of the matter that when you're third place in the console marketplace and the two top players are as strong as they are and have, in certain cases, a very, very discreet focus on doing deals and other things, that kind of make being Xbox hard for us as a team, and that's on us, not on anybody else." He probably could have stopped there and he would have been all right. Then he said, "I see commentary that if you just built great games, everything would turn around. It's just not true. If we go off and build great games, then all of a sudden you're going to see console share shift in some dramatic way."
They don't have any games.
Well,
maybe if they made games.
But he can't prove himself wrong if he doesn't. So, like, he needs to maintain that, right?
That's just that's a defeatist mindset. That's admitting defeat. And then are you going to do the Starfield quote as well? Is that going to be another segment, or as we
Starfield for the frame rate?
No. Start where he says nobody's gonna sell their PlayStation
Yeah.
5.
Yep, that's
You
coming up
fucking
right here.
moron. Why would any? You don't have to sell your. They've only sold 25 million or whatever it is of those systems. The market is still fresh. You fucking idiot.
I'll read it right now. I said, I see a lot of pundits out there that kind of want to go back to the time where we all had cartridges and discs, and every new generation was a clean slate and you could switch the whole console share. That's just not the world we are in today. There is no world where Starfield is an 11 out of 10 and people start selling their PS5. That's not going to happen.
Yes. Yeah, it could.
Well, I don't think you need to subtract from...
And you don't have to sell your. Why would you have to sell your PlayStation? Like, that's such a weird quote.
It is
like,
weird.
The PlayStation 5 hasn't sold 100 million systems yet. It probably will because
it will. It's going. I think it's going.
Yeah, but
the biggest issue is like, the reason why it sounds. I know what he was trying to say, because like I've been in crisis management PR before. So I know what he's trying to say.
These sounds like a little bit, I'll admit.
Yeah, like these are the type of maneuvers that you will see. Like you will try to make an excuse why something isn't, and then also give yourself a buffer room. It's always back into like why they don't report console sales numbers, right? It always back into that. But the issue, I think, where people have a problem, it's like, well, we all know the basic, if you sell more consoles, you will sell more of your subscription service. That is just facts. And the fact that he's not pushing that should have been the push. Not necessarily say you got to outsell Sony or Nintendo, because you're not. He's right. They don't get, Japan's a big problem for them. They're not going to sell millions of consoles in Japan. It's going to be tough to ever outsell Nintendo or Sony. But he's still, the only thing that would have changed is he would have said like, hey, look, we're still going to try to sell as many consoles as possible and sell Game Pass, because we know that if we sell consoles, more people subscribe to Game Pass. He missed that. That's the only thing. If I was his PR dude, I would have been like, Phil, you got to still say, like, you don't got to outsell just because somebody gets 10 million views. We're not all Mr. Beast. That doesn't mean we can't be successful. You know what I'm saying? That doesn't mean we can't do well on YouTube. We don't got to do better than him. We just got to say, hey, we're striving to do better. And I think that's in terms of sales. And I think that's the problem, where that's the only thing that I would tweak with what Phil said, because now it sounds like a defeatist, you know?
Yeah, he brought up the digital side of things as well with the libraries, where he said we lost the worst generation to lose in the Xbox One generation, where everybody built their digital library of games. So when you go and you're building it on Xbox, we want our Xbox community to feel awesome, but this idea that if we just focus more on great games on our console, that somehow we're going to win the console race, I think doesn't really lay into the reality of most people.
It's a marathon, not a sprint. There's a reason why Sony has been around for so long. There's a reason why Nintendo has been around for so long, because they've constantly made great games. Yes, they've made bad games. They've made horrible games, but they've also made great games. And that's why people gravitate towards those consoles. If Nintendo did not make great games, nobody would buy Nintendo. If Sony didn't make great games, nobody would buy Sony, because the companies would have went by the wayside. It's the video game industry is what you are in. That would be like saying, I'm a movie studio. We can't make great movies. Like, put it into any other form of entertainment. People want you to make great games. People want to support your brand. They want to, play what you have to bring to the world. And if you're not bringing stuff into the world that's quality, or at least trying to, what are you doing? Why do you exist? What's the point?
MEG, what's happening here?
I don't really have much to add. I mean, Sean and I don't usually agree on a lot of things, but I agree with him wholeheartedly on this. I think there's obviously a major issue at Xbox, right? And I don't know if it's a yes men issue. It could be. I don't know if it's just the higher ups are more hands off than they need to be. I don't know if they're spread too thin with their fingers in cloud and hardware and televisions and little Asus handheld devices and all the stuff that they're doing. Maybe the time is really just to, just wipe the slate clean and just focus on games, rather than trying to appeal the ABK decision. Just cut it off right now. Say, look, we gave it a shot. It's not happening. We're going to move on. I think for me, that would be a show of strength and resolve from the company that, we don't need this AB. We're not holding everything to this ABK deal before we proceed with our next move. I mean, it's possible that they could just take that money and reinvest it into their studios and to try to identify and resolve the issues that they're having trying to execute on these games. And look, I think right now, I know that, everything has kind of happened all at once for Xbox. We had the ABK, the CMA came in. We've had Redfall as a disaster. We've had Phil go on and say some really questionable and sketchy things on Kind of Funny's podcast. Everything has been bad for Xbox over the last few weeks. And look, if Redfall came out later on this year and Starfield was the game and it did really well, we wouldn't even be talking about this, let's be honest. But we are here because Xbox is kind of at its lowest point that they've been in since like 2013, I want to say, since the bad old days of TV.
Decade of greatness.
Let me ask you this. Is this right? Does this feel worse than 2013 right now?
It feels worse than 2013.
There's something going on online right now. There's this like aura right now where people are just like actually doubting Xbox.
It's not as bad. I don't think it's as bad as 2013. Like we have more people talking now than in 2013.
Maybe you might be right on social media.
2013 was absolutely dreadful. That E3, remember that interview with Angry Joe afterwards? Can't just flip this, like, oh my gosh, it was terrible. So I'm not going to go that bad because Xbox is still making money. Like they're still making, and I know it's not just about money, but they're still, Game Pass is still a thing. Game Pass is still something that people value a lot more than anything that maybe Xbox had in 2013, so I won't go as far as that it was worse than that. It might feel that way.
It feels worse. I don't know if
it feels worse, but I don't know if it actually is though.
Right. I do hear that a lot, OJ, that the my Xbox is making, a bunch of revenue, highest quarters or something in their gaming sector ever for quarters and stuff. Shouldn't that annoy us more that Redfall came out in the state that it did if they're making that kind of money, right?
Yeah, that's exactly why I said I know it's not just about money. We're gamers, right? So, but
I'm not talking about you specifically. I just see that online. I'm like, that seems like a weird thing to counter with. You should be like, that Redfall should have come out in amazing shape then.
You're absolutely right. Like I wish it was. Listen, I've always been a huge fan of I loved old school Xbox. I was a big Fable, Perfect Dark. Well, Perfect Dark with the N64, but before that, but I like the IPs, right? Banjo. I'm more gutted that Microsoft is at the situation right now than probably people even realize. It sucks, man. But to be honest, I've already given up. I don't. I actually don't have any hope for them to get back. I'm already just thinking it's just gonna be like this until it's not. So I'm not trying to sit there and say that there's gonna be any type of thing that's gonna. So it's look, this is just how it is. When you do Game Pass and you do stuff like this, I think it's a little bit of a byproduct. Personally, for me, when you get yourself out of that mindset, console sales aren't important. You do stuff like that, it takes away a little bit of the drive. It takes away a little bit of the passion and the hard nose, to really get out there and get these high Metacritic games and all, because that stuff's super important. That's got to be built into the culture. You know what I'm saying? If it's not built into selling systems and having super high Metacritic games, game of the year, then it's just, this is what you're going to get. It just seems and I've just given up. I'm just hey, look, that's just how it is. But
bring up an interesting point, OJ. I'm curious. If Game Pass didn't exist, if it wasn't a thing, it didn't exist, they're just selling games a la carte. Would Redfall have come out this week?
No, absolutely not.
I kind of feel like it wouldn't have.
Oh man,
no,
$70
depends.
Are you kidding me? First party $70 game.
It depends.
No way.
No, I say depends because if it's the same exact situation where Redfall has to come out because they have to at least get one of the games they promised within the first 12 months, I say it does.
Okay.
I don't. I don't know. I think that if you change the whole Game Pass dynamic, things would just be different. I just feel like there'd be a different way that they do things. I don't know. But it is what it is. That's how I feel about it. It's hey, look, it is what people that like Game Pass and all that enjoy it.
Josie, what do you think? Did you see that interview with Phil Spencer?
Yeah, I watched it.
What do you think? What do you think of it? Just overall, watching Phil. I'm not I guess squirming or anything, but being he's frustrated, annoyed, giving these kind of answers.
To be honest, I think he owned up to stuff pretty well. There were a couple times where they kind of padded out some stuff and he was like, no, it was bad. That was my bad, which was cool. I don't know. The comments about the defeatist attitude and all that, I just feel like the reason Nintendo is so successful and has continued to be successful is because that's the only place you can play Zelda. That's the only place you can play Mario. Like, they have all these legacy IPs. That Xbox has Halo and they have Forza, and there's not really a lot more except for maybe Fable's coming back and like stuff like that.
But they have Banjo-Kazooie that they've done.
Oh gosh, he's like MPG trying to.
I will ban you from Reddit again, son of a bitch.
They have Perfect Dark. They have Banjo. They have Conquer. They have Killer Instinct.
Perfect Dark was one good game and one bad
Blinks
game.
the Time Sweeper.
Blinks the Time Sweeper. What? There it is. Thank you.
Blinks the time. Hey, look, that game is a hidden gem.
They have Conkers.
Josie, you're saying they got to start coming up with some new IPs as well. Like
they have all this like heap of like studios and stuff that they've acquired, and legacy games like Rare and like stuff like that they just aren't utilizing. And I feel like if they did utilize it, that'd give people a reason to actually buy an Xbox. But at least for me right now, I wanted to get just to see what Redfall was. But Redfall kind of, to me, which I think is not like everyone else, but it didn't look very original and it didn't like get me super excited. So if they figured something out, got original, did something other than Hi-Fi Rush, which was cool and original, but more stuff like that, I feel like it'd be good. But they just aren't, and they're not putting out games, which is the entire point of the video game industry, like our GT said.
Okay.
No, it's not.
Okay. Yep. Jordan. All right. So you and I bought Jedi Survivor, right?
Correct.
We both got it on the Xbox.
Correct.
People asked us why.
Correct.
So what are you feeling here, Jordan, with this whole thing?
I mean, it is what I don't know. I mean, it's the same song and dance.
Phil Spencer, the whole deal.
It's the same song and dance we've been talking about and discussing, and it's just him openly speaking about it in a way that, I mean, it's eye-opening for some, but I don't really care. I mean, this is how it is. This is how it is. This is how it has been. Xbox needs to figure something out. It's simple as that. Like,
it's eye-opening for some, but it shouldn't be. If you've been watching, it shouldn't be.
And it shouldn't be. I think it's just like you said, like you're saying, there's more talk on social media about it now. So more people are like, oh, this is how it is. Because 2013, you do look back at then, it was a big deal. All right. It was a big point of like, oh, this could be the future of, what's going on. And we were just coming off the Xbox 360 at that point, right? We were like, oh, this is a great generation. This is how things are. There's so many games coming out and big productions, and things just started going downhill. And it's nothing new. We've been at a point where we're lucky to get a full-fledged game to come out maybe once a year. So it's all you really need right now is games in a battle of services that no one is really competing against Game Pass with. So you don't need to do anything too crazy with Game Pass, but instead, how would we just make a game?
Yeah, and also, I mean, if you put great games on Game Pass, people will sign up for it to play it.
Will they though?
Yes,
And they'll buy
I will.
consoles.
Yes.
Phil says otherwise.
If they put Fable and Banjo and Perfect Dark on Game Pass, and they're all good games, not ones that are like 65 Metacritics, people will jump on.
I would be there.
Okay, it's time to solve Xbox's problems. I'm gonna do it for free. Okay. First things first, we need a bad cop. Sean's absolutely right.
John's the bad cop.
Phil Spencer, nice guy, right? Obviously cares. Yeah, if he showed up to that interview really happy and excited and stuff, I'd be like, I mean, he actually cared. He seemed like he cared, so I'll give him that. We need a bad cop, though. Sean's absolutely right. I have two candidates, okay? Phil Harrison's a free agent right now.
Oh, God.
Bad as in me, not bad as in worthless.
Bad as in thank you. Dude, you want to see Xbox die?
Phil Harrison is great at taking the blame. He's like one of the best scapegoats I've ever seen in gaming history.
But then the company destroys and crumbles in his way.
But when he shows up at your studio, you better get him a good demo, because he might be there to let everyone know they're leaving with him.
John, I know what your second pick's gonna be.
Oh, you know what it is.
I know what it is.
Yep, guy who was well ahead of his time. Ahead. I mean, an entire generation ahead. His one misstep was trying to put a camera in your living room. That's Don Matrick.
You
Bring him back. He's the bad cop, right?
know, it'd be cool if he kept. If he came out and it was like shiny and it was like a TV in the background, he just walked out of the TV and was like, "I'm back, bitches."
At this rate, just fucking, you might as well say Tommy Tallarico. Like, let's be realistic.
Oh, that'd be sick.
Hey, Don Matrick had the vision, okay? He was the visionary for this. He was trying to tell people about always online DRM in 2012, and no one wanted to listen to the conversation. But now we're always online.
You can't have Tommy Tallarico coming in there. He's like,
I gotta check in on Nintendo servers every 30 days to play my N64 games. How'd they figure that out? Hey, no one wanted to listen. And if he didn't try to put a spy cam in our living room, he'd probably still be around. They just need to look at their management and figure it out. Obviously, what they have now isn't working. They're hands off with Arcane for some reason, but they weren't hands off enough to tell them to not to cancel the PS5 version. So I don't know how that worked. I don't know how they're not hands on, but then they canceled the PS5 version. No clue.
They need to be, man. They need to get more involved. I'm not saying they need to be in their day every single day, but like there needs to be some strategic milestones and checkpoints where, you know, work is shown and delivered and the appropriate feedback is given.
It's a partnership. That's all. Like, that's what it is, right? There's a trust that, hey, we're Xbox. You're going to make this for us. We're going to work together. We're going to make the best product. We're all going to profit. We're all going to have a good day. We're going to make another game after this, right? That's the relationship they need to have. It shouldn't be, hey, you guys do your thing. Give it to us when we're done and we'll go market it, right? It should not be that way. If you're going to blind trust just a company or who's someone who's a part of your company at this point to make something for you, and you're not going to sit there and go, okay, if someone's going to buy this for $60 or $70, or they're going to pay a monthly service fee to play this game to get it, it needs to be quality, because the quality speaks truth to what your company is selling, right? If you're going to have to convince someone to put that money down, you can't be like, oh, let's just make it, we'll sell it, whatever. There has to be. I'm not saying meddle with the work, not saying not let them do what they want to do, but there needs to be checks and balances that are due there between both companies that work together. And that's, go look what happened to Halo. That's why Halo had to be, fixed several times before, it came out. It was no one was paying attention here, and we just made the wrong game. So
what's Peter Moore up to?
Oh,
Less.
God.
No, you're right. You're right, Jordan. They got to stop being surprised by their own studios. They were shocked too when Halo got shown, like we were. Like I was like,
the CGI trailer that they made really looked good. I thought we had something here.
But they showed it, and then they did it. I think it was Aaron Greenberg did an interview afterwards, and people in the chat were like, "What did you just show us?" He's like, "I thought it looked good, right? It looked good."
Peter Moore and Don Matrick working together.
Yo, hold on, right?
You know what? It sounds like dude. That era, the 360 era, they put their foot down and got a ton of great games shipped. They were so aggressive.
A cutthroat. Like that's what they need.
They were pretty. I mean, they seemed like, oh yeah, we're gonna just go out there. Don Matrick seemed like a goof, but I think he was kind of low key cutthroat. But behind the scenes,
the Blue Dragon, Lost Odyssey. Where are all those games right now?
Yeah,
you imagine Peter Moore and Don Matrick with the backing of Satya Nadella is willing to throw $70 billion at them.
Yeah,
they do some damage.
Peter Moore, he's better than people give him credit for. I think sometimes.
Peter Moore's awesome. I like him.
Yeah, I think Phil is the good, because he's been like promoted all the way up basically to the head table right next to Satya Nadella. I think he's great where he is there as kind of that, I don't say go between, but definitely someone who can work to manage, and I'm sure navigate would have to be some crazy internal politics at Microsoft. But when it comes to the ground level stuff, the people actually traveling back and forth between studios and doing what Sean says, which is like, hey guys, no, just like that's probably someone else. And if they're going to try to acquire Activision Blizzard, it might be time to bring in some more help on that level. So they just got to stop being surprised by these games that they're managing. So
hopefully this is the last time. Sorry, Josie, go ahead.
I was just going to say, a lot of people are comparing this to like the Wii U, but the thing with the Wii U to the Switch is that Nintendo learned what they did wrong and fixed it. And Xbox had the same issues with the Xbox One to the series consoles, and they just haven't learned for the most part. So
true.
I don't know.
I hear this a lot too with the Wii U to the Switch. There was a comparison made to that. Like Microsoft can make up the ground again by making great games because Nintendo did it from Wii U to Switch. Nintendo also has Mario and Zelda. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, but that didn't help them with the Wii U.
But their issue with the
Look
Wii
what
U was
Xbox
that
does.
they didn't understand like they didn't market it right. So people just thought it was an additional thing. But so they fixed that with the Switch and made it its own thing, new name, all that kind of stuff. So they fixed that issue. But then Xbox
and they have
One
Pokemon as
didn't
well.
have very many games, and then Xbox Series S doesn't have very many games.
Another problem though, with the Nintendo, obviously Nintendo, the 3DS was doing great too though. So they also had to split their base. That was tough, right? Xbox, I guess you can say they split their base with PC and Xbox, but not really, right? It's the same game. So once Nintendo decided to put all their games on one system, it did much better. Like, Wii U didn't have, Wii U didn't have Pokemon, didn't have Animal Crossing, didn't have Fire Emblem. It didn't have any like those big domain games that can help sell the system. Switch has that, so obviously it's going to do much better. But yeah, I mean, I can see some parallels. Like I can see some parallels like with the Wii U, like you can turn things around. But yeah, like the IP is much stronger.
Who's Microsoft's mascot right now?
Phil Spencer.
Flight Simulator, the plane.
Well, hold on, that's licensed.
Oh, okay.
Our mascot was purchasing Activision.
Yeah, is it?
Like,
is
we'd be
it
like,
the
look, we
Corvette?
have Crash, we have Spyro, we got him.
Marcus Phoenix.
Marcus. I don't know if the younger generation knows who that is anymore.
They've
The
got
Forza
$70
Audi,
billion
right?
to spend though. I mean, that seems like world changing,
It does, doesn't it?
altering money, man. Like imagine if somebody had somebody dropped $70 billion in your account, bro. Like that's just so much money. And the fact that they can't, like, we're in the situation when you've got that much, it's like, I don't know, it almost feels like something like a rich person starving. It's like, why are you starving, bro? Like, go buy some food. Like,
I want to say
what
it
is
would be
going
Master
on?
Chief, but
What about
legitimately
Jacob from Redfall?
oh gosh, the younger
Who?
generation
Bill played him.
calls Master Chief Halo guy now. Is what I see
Halo
on places
guy?
like Red. Yes,
Josie, what do you call him? What do you
Halo guy.
call him?
Just kidding.
Halo guy?
No, Josie's in the know. She knows it's Master Chief.
What do your friends call him? Josie, ask your friends about Halo. What do they call him?
Who's the main character in Halo? And
Yeah,
they're
ask
like,
him who's the main character in Halo. I want to know.
A lot of them
The
are big on
green
Halo,
one.
so they'll probably know.
Oh, okay. Well,
I
some people that aren't nerds.
I get concerned
Hey.
about that though because Halo's in a bad spot too. Man, I miss 2007. 2008.
Evan, do we have a Discord question?
Yeah, we'll move on from this. Hey, showcase coming up. Go ahead, Evan.
How do you think the Activision deal falling through will affect Call of Duty? Do they look for a new buyer or just continue their current release schedule?
Continue on.
Activision will get hurt pretty bad. They'll move on from it though. They have Call of Duty. It's like
They'll be fine.
although
Business as usual.
although they are looking to get bought, so keep that in mind. I wonder if Tencent comes in.
Sony swoops in and says, well, if we bought
Mike-
them, it would be fair.
Microsoft
it'd be completely fair.
did kind of slip some info out there that they weren't the only one looking at Activision. So
Yeah, I mean these kind of business deals. There's always propositions being made on the side, like, hey, before you make an agreement with them, hear us out. That always happens in business like this. So I mean,
Backdoor
if you look before Disney bought Fox and everything, right? There was Comcast. I think it was Comcast was like jumping in there and trying to outbid them for a second, like privately on the side. But that happens in all these big mergers.
the hiccup
acquisitions.
the hiccup is the cloud gaming stuff. Tencent probably wouldn't have any issues with that. So I'm just putting that out there. I don't know. Watch out for that if it doesn't go through. I would think that Activision Blizzard would business as usual though. Otherwise, yes.
Yep.
You have another one, Evan?
Let's go with, I'll just read this one out. We live in a time where no two platform holders have the same business model. How does this affect competition?
That would concern me too, because then I would rather them be wanting to like punch each other in the face at E3 in person or something. Like I want them to get seriously competitive with each other, but no one's really doing it, so it's as concerning. I feel like they still compete against themselves when it comes to shareholders and stuff. So
I do think that they compete, like Game of the Year stuff. It seems like, there's been talk about that. Sony and Nintendo seem to be very content on, like, when they have a game, like they want to win Game of the Year.
Right.
They want those awards. So I think it's kind of shifted to like, who's going to get that? Like, who's going to be able to sell 20 million copies or this amount of games?
maybe that's what it is. We need Phil Spencer's getting like angry. Just be mad all the time about it.
One more thing on the Phil Spencer. Did you guys see, like, out of the last 10 years of the Game Awards, Microsoft has no
Yes.
You guys see that list? I was
You'd
watching.
have to put out a game, is all.
They have no Game of the Year exclusives like in the last 10 years at the game. Like that's wild, man.
Yep. Unfortunately, like Forza again,
Forza
it's not gonna get put in because it's a racing game and there's no. I said it before. There's no, I'll say mascot, but no emotional connection to it. That's the best way I can kind of describe it. So
maybe that should have been in. So maybe they should have had one.
I guess Psychonauts 2 was technically there. That was a Game of the Year nominee.
Yeah, it was.
But it was like a
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
Multi-plat.
Afterwards. So.
Yeah, you're looking one from like ground up built. I get what you're saying with them.
Like Halo, for example, if that was
right. Some of those built with them starting to finish. I get you. Okay. You have another Discord question, Evan?
Let's do this one. We see multiple major titles getting lampooned on release this year. Are we seeing the ultimate effects of COVID-19 on these AAA games?
Do you mean just the release? What was it? The release condition of them?
They're getting lampooned on release, which I guess means that they're not great when they drop for sale. There's a little more. Given the complexity of the industry now and the abrupt change that teams had to make just to continue work, or are we starting to see what some fear and or speculate about the possible glimpse of future video game crash in the AAA space?
I think that's an inevitability at some point.
Everything crashes eventually.
These budgets are just getting too damn high. And you have to sell, multi-million dollars or multi-millions of units in order just to like break even and stuff like that. It's kind of it kind of goes into the Game Pass side of things. It's like, okay, well, how sustainable is Game Pass actually? So
it's interesting. There were some documents that came out from that CMA stuff where they did their decision and they talked about video game budgets. Someone definitely mentioned that they have plans to spend nearly $1 billion on a game.
Jeez.
And I kind of wonder if that's Take-Two talking about GTA 6.
That's ridiculous, man.
It's
I
Sega
thought about that.
with Shenmue 4.
Oh my gosh.
Go.
I thought about that. I'm like, I wonder, like some have said, yeah, we spent $500 million making a game before with marketing and all this. And I was like, what?
That's wild.
What? So eventually the budgets have to stop somewhere, which means we will hit a roof, I assume, on quality and, the big wow factor and stuff. So, hey, unless AI takes over and then you can build the game for $10.
That can't be copywritten.
At least it'll put MBG.
Hey, you can sue the AI, not me.
I'll be retired by then anyway.
All right, let's talk about Zelda for a minute here. I wanted to get everyone.
It's halfway through. Isn't it super chat time?
Well, I figure we can do the Zelda thing real quick, then do super chats, and then we have Xbox Showcase and Sony shutting down a studio. So
I guess.
Zelda,
stop rushing the man.
Zelda Tears of the Kingdom out Friday. I assume reviews will go live probably Tuesday or Wednesday. Most likely somewhere in there.
Can't wait to play Zelda.
Yeah, thanks. It's gonna be really fun. Obviously, when the game drops, but I am curious what people's Metacritic prediction is on this one. So I talked about it today in my video about where I think it is, and I do think it's going to be the highest rated game of the year. I'll say that. But what we got
is Breath of the Wild a 97.
Yes.
Breath of the Wild was a 97. Yes.
And is Metroid Prime Remastered a 95 or 94? I think Tears is probably going to sit somewhere in the middle between those two, maybe a 95, 96. I'd say probably a 95, maybe a 96. It may start out 96 and then someone will give it a 7 out of 10 and it'll drop it down to like 95.
Someone's going to make a name for themselves.
It's going to score high, and it will probably be the highest rated game of the year. I don't think Starfield's going to catch it.
No. I'll say 95.
Okay. What do you think, Josie?
Probably 96. I agree with all the stuff MVG was saying.
Okay. We got Jordan.
I don't care about ratings. 88. I don't know.
Oh, he's doing the Price is Right. He doesn't want to go over.
That's underneath your favorite game, Jordan.
I don't care. The ratings on Meta, like these kind of, they're so nonsensical. They mean nothing to me. So I don't really care what it gets.
How would you score the game?
I would say
scale of 1 to lamp.
It'd be, because if I don't do points, if I just want to give a number, right? Let's say something I give a 7 out of 10. I'd probably be like, it's a 7 out of 10, closer to an 8 than a 6. Like it's closer on the scale to being an
So
8,
like a
then
70
going down to a 7.
Okay, so like a 74, 75.
Well, not for I'm just giving just a
Or
general.
you're giving like a range, like a it's called like tilt. Like how they used to do like back in the old magazine days, like how much you like something, it's more towards something that you like than not as good. So
Yeah.
All I wanted was you to tell me what you think Zelda's going to score.
It's just a guess.
You personally, not Metacritic.
I don't know. I haven't played it yet.
Prediction.
Okay.
Or have I played it yet?
Moving on.
Okay, well, hold on. But we didn't get OJ.
I'm saying moving on from Jordan.
Prediction video out later, but I generally agree with most of what you guys are saying.
Oh, what about Evan?
Probably.
Are
and
you
then-
going to play it?
Is
No.
it a dust Evan switch off out of 10?
No.
Oh,
Damn.
Pretty much done with the system. But no, like MVG was saying, there's definitely going to be a person in the reviews that's like, it's just DLC, 4 out of 10, and it will drag it down a bit. So it'll probably be like in the lower 90s as a prediction.
I think it matches Breath of the Wild at a 97.
Ooh.
And I think it also has the most perfect scores of the year out of all the games.
Interesting take.
I do.
Yeah,
I've seen too much. Kotaku had to
I've had some
put
crazy
stuff
people
out there.
I know, honestly, with no spoilers here, I've had some people, obviously people are playing the game, right, that are like, if this game isn't a 10 out of 10, I swear, OJ, I'll donate this. Like, there are people are thinking that this game is like some type of crazy, like it's going to score higher than Breath of the Wild. So we'll see though, but I agree. There's going to be some dude that like rolls out, or some people that are like, you know.
More of
There's
the
weapon
same,
breaking still in the game.
More of the
so.
same, 7 out of 10.
Yeah. It's
I
gonna be
can
like
see
some,
that.
We saw that with what was it, Jimquisition, like when Breath of the Wild came out, you know. So there's gonna be somebody that just
God of War Ragnarok got a little bit of that too, and that's why it didn't score as high as the first one. Oh wait, did it?
well, no, it matched it.
It matched it. Yeah.
Same score.
Yeah, I got 97 on it, but we'll find out. Let's be, like I said, Tuesday or Wednesday, the reviews will go live. So it'll be good. Looking forward to it. Let me go over to some of the super chats here. Evan, do you have a Discord question you can drop up here while
There's still a few, yeah. Anyone
Okay, yeah,
planning
go for it.
to play with the Pokemon-like game Cassette Beasts?
I have not heard of this.
Never heard of it.
I've
Is it-
heard that it's good. People are people came to my
Cassette
chat saying that it's
Beast?
really good. It's a really good like indie like RPG.
Stylistically, you basically put music in a cassette player and it creates a creature that fights other creatures. It's kind of like,
What system is this on?
I know it's on the
Everything,
PC, but yeah, it's like an indie everything type
Is it
thing.
everything?
That was like a
Oh.
display.
Yeah, I heard it was good. Looked good.
Wait, so you put a cassette into a player and then it creates a creature.
Yeah, sort of like
fighting against
monster, sort of like a
So it's like Monster Rancher
Monster Rancher, yeah.
from the PS1.
Yeah, a little throwback to that.
Interesting. I might check that out though. That sounds kind of cool. Okay. You have another one, Evan?
I guess we're getting into the Zelda stuff. Do you think we'll be able to explore the caverns and caves we saw in the first trailer for Tears of the Kingdom?
No comment.
Yeah.
No
They
comment.
showed you exploring the caves, the what's it called?
Well, he's
The
wondering if it
commercial
was.
said you
He's
do.
wondering if it was just an opening cinematic.
Go
At
read
least,
the Kotaku.
at least was what we thought, 'cause then-
if you want to know.
I saw
Oh,
him
the commercial
talking.
literally shows you playing it.
I saw him talking in chat. He was like, "I don't want to be spoiled on it." I was like, "Why are you asking this
Based
question?"
on a series of events, I go read the Kotaku.
Based on what Nintendo even showed, just what they showed already, you can.
I think they really I think they really liked Metroid. So
Then I guess in the same vein, what is the general feeling you're seeing for how good Tears of the Kingdom is from the people who have already played it? I guess try to limit it down to like a word or something.
I haven't played it.
Zelda.
Zelda.
People that have played the game in my chat without spoiling the game, they've said that it's impeccable. That's the word that's
There it is.
impeccable.
I have a word.
Mhm.
Poggers.
Varnished.
DLC.
That's the one. Swan Song.
Swan Song. Oh.
Mhm.
Hey, you know, I will say I hope this game does end up on the next platform with upgrades. So I think this is a game that would heavily benefit from it. I think it would look really cool there. So
And Poggers.
yes, thank you. Casual says SpawnCast, Tears of the Kingdom versus Breath of the Wild sales and/or Metacritic bet. We did the Metacritic stuff. Sales, I think it's the fastest selling Zelda game.
If you want to hear
ever
about
made.
sales, listen to today's Nate the Hate episode
Thank you.
on
There you go.
the Nate the Hate
Seriously,
channel on
just shut
YouTube.
I think
I
it's the
was guessing that.
fastest selling
mate.
Zelda game ever made. especially right out of the gate. But I will be curious to see if they continue on to the next platform. If they do, then it will probably eventually become the best-selling Zelda game. Yes. Patrick says, being an adult sucks. I hate paying bills.
Hey.
You're wrong.
Thank God that you can pay bills, man. I used to think the same way, but at least you can pay them.
Matthew says maybe Xbox should just give up. They are disconnected from their fans, the market, and most importantly, what the industry is about, the games.
No.
Man, I see that going around a lot. I saw some people calling for third party. Like,
we need competition. That would be one of the worst things to happen. Microsoft going out of business. It wasn't good when Sega did. It's not. It'd be even more devastating if Microsoft did here.
Yeah, you would need somebody else to step in and
fast. And that person stepping in wouldn't be as good as Microsoft because it'd be Apple, it would
have to be Apple, probably
Google,
yeah.
It'd be Amazon, it'd be one of these companies, you know.
Yep. Trip and Fall says, question for OJ: what system had the better first-person shooters, the N64 or the GameCube?
The better first-person shooters?
Yeah,
the GameCube.
There you
Time
go.
Splitters was fantastic. Had multiple 007 games. Had Metroid Prime. Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and go with the.
I can't go with Time Splitters because it didn't run at 10 frames per second like GoldenEye. Yeah, there was like a clean 60 on that.
And I'm being honest here. I think that the GameCube had better first person shooters. Now you didn't say more iconic. You said better.
Fuck Mario Sunshine.
Phil Spencer says fire Phil or change leadership. A leader like him should not have such a defeatist attitude. Glad the ABK deal didn't go through. Xbox fans deserve better.
Damn.
Wow.
Dookie down.
Harsh words from apparently Phil Spencer. MTS says, has anyone tried Jedi Survivor post-patch on console? I have. It feels exactly the same. That's it. Nerd says, anyone remember Brink? I do, unfortunately.
I do.
Yeah, I do.
I was actually pretty good at that game.
Sounds like before Josie was born.
Right. Yeah, that was a PS3 360 game.
2011?
It was
2011?
Was it earlier than that? Was it? Oh, you could check if you get a second.
Remember all those experimental games? I remember like Haze, Brink, Haze.
It's 2011. It's almost the 12-year anniversary of it. Came out May 10th, 2011. Look at that.
Wow. The marketing for that was crazy. I remember wholesalers were sending posters. We had like 12 posters for that game for some reason. I think Evan had one in his room for a while.
I was actually good at it, and not a lot of people were. High skill selling. Just kind of sucked.
And then they shut it down.
Yep.
I was playing Barbie games at that time.
Still are.
Not violent enough for me.
Phil Spencer says MVG, N64, or PS1. Think of Einhander.
Ooh, I mean I love Einhander, by the way. I love Einhander. Great game.
I mean, probably the PS1.
Probably the PS1.
Okay, good. I was about to say MVG. I was about to say, bro, come on. You can't do this to me.
Sir says, MVG, since you have game development insight, we all love playing games at 60 FPS. What makes it so hard to hit that frame rate given how powerful consoles are now?
Well, there's many different reasons, but I think the biggest one is you got to optimize for 60 on day one. I think a lot of studios kind of decide that, hey, we'll get all these assets in, we'll get all these art in, we'll do some really cool stuff, build all these really cool systems, and then like at the end when the game's running at like 12 frames per second, they have to start optimizing and try to figure out how to get it running at 60 or get it running at 30. I think the key thing is, and it's easier said than done, but you got to think about 60 from day one. And as you start implementing your systems, you want to make sure that you're continuing to do performance testing, making sure that you're not deviating away from that frame rate. Because if you start to, then you're going to be in a lot of trouble kind of towards the end.
Does that make development longer if you do it that way?
It can if you kind of front load it, OJ. But I think the end result of that is you have a much more polished day one release that doesn't need patching later on. So and obviously that's time and money as well. So I think, if you do kind of front load the development, it does take a little bit longer, but I think it's ultimately the right thing to do.
Feisty says, why do you think all Xbox doesn't look back to their 360 days and learn from what actually worked and sold their hardware?
Red Ring of Death?
Well, they're looking to sell software right now or services. Xbox, the hardware is kind of along for the ride.
They have to change the culture because of what happened. So that's the reason why they don't look at that, because that was the whole goal, was to get away from what they did before, you know? So
Yeah,
that's
plus
the reason.
the other thing is it's very, very difficult to take risks these days, because if you take one risk, then you've basically wiped out a studio almost, you know. It's very hard to, unless you are owned by a big company like Microsoft, for example. But these days it's, you know, they're trying live service because they think that's the future, and it doesn't seem like it's going to be. And they're not really taking those big risks like they used to. They're kind of chasing trends, and those trends that they're chasing, by the time the game comes out, the trend is long gone. You know, Redfall is another example of that, right? So yeah, they just gotta, I don't know, they gotta take more risks. I don't know how you do it, but you gotta look back at your legacy and see what worked and what didn't, and focus on what did work for you.
Cody says, do you think Microsoft should go Sony's route and make third-person narrative-heavy adventure games? This recycled template seems to work for Sony, at least with critics and awards shows.
Yeah, but then they're just competing with Sony at that point.
Yeah, I think it works well with the mainstream as well, that third-person narrative-driven experience, because it plays into the home theater setup and, you know, nice TV and all this stuff. So
I think it's easier said than done than to just make those type of games. I think that's tough to do. It's not easy. We saw The Last of Us Part 2 take like 7 years, like the whole generation to make. Yeah. You know, so I think it's one of those things that's easier said than done. But yeah, it'd be nice if they had a few. But it looks like they're building some stuff, so we'll see in the future, I guess, right?
But it's not like just like trying to come up with something new or trying to compete. They just have a slew of IP that they're not doing anything with.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's just, okay, we'll make a new Halo game because it's time, and then they'll mess that up. Where's the next Gears game? It's been too long without any news on it. Like, the cycles are getting too long. The game base, you know, the player base is shrinking because of time going by, moving on to other things, not getting enough updates anymore, because that's basically, just go look at what you have. You have a toy box of games. Make something from them.
Don't tell me what to do.
Yeah, fair enough.
You know, maybe it's time they cut the Activision Blizzard deal, and then they buy Embracer and just get a bunch of new IPs for the toolbox that they don't use.
I think it's just time to cut the losses on that Activision Blizzard shit, man. And just you've got so many games, like, you just focus, use that money and infuse. If you want to infuse Activision in cash, just infuse them with cash to make some type of game for you or something like that. You can give them money, like you can do the old school route.
Yeah, I'm still surprised that Microsoft or Xbox let Tomb Raider go like that. I thought they would have been on it.
Yeah, like what's up? Like you have 72 billion. Let's just buy Tomb. Why couldn't you just get Tomb Raider? And
Tomb Raider would have fitted nicely. Yeah,
that could have been all Deus Ex, Tomb Raider, Crystal Dynamics, all that ish could have been theirs, bro. Like, and they just said, nope, we're good.
Yeah, it's interesting.
Crazy. Because 300 million out of 72 billion, that's like nothing.
Yeah.
Literally nothing.
Jeff asks, who took the bigger L? Oh, sorry, Sean. Phil Spencer or the Knicks?
I still say Phil Spencer, because the Knicks overachieved.
Phil Spencer.
Yeah, they're both not done. They're both equal L's at this point, because it's not finished. The Knicks are still just down 2-1. Yeah, you know, equal L's.
Phil Spencer asks, Jordan, have you seen Guardians 3? Love the content and the Ned's Declassified video.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I put out a big video on that show, Ned's Declassified, yesterday. Yeah, I did see Guardians 3. I think it is a fantastic film. I think it is one of the most mature, depth-filled Marvel films in quite some time. Very emotional, very good ending to this trilogy, and it's nice to see something that wasn't trying to be a part of the rest of the MCU. It just wanted to end it off the way it wanted to end things. So it was a really good time.
Okay, very good. Alonzo says, I've noticed so far this year that Nintendo and Microsoft did shadow drops. Now Sony has been the only one that hasn't, or will they do one this year? They could.
Yeah, they could. I mean, they might have something at whenever they do their next presentation, because all we really know beyond Final Fantasy 16, which is just an exclusive because, I mean, they obviously paid for it, is Spider-Man 2, which we haven't seen anything from. I think if you do Final Fantasy 16, Spider-Man 2, and then like a AA style game, you know, like a
Stellar Blade, maybe shadow dropping that.
Yeah, maybe.
They could also shadow drop one of their free live service games if they go a free to play route, because it's just there. You just go download it. So even disguise it as a beta, technically, if they wanted to.
What's the Astrobot developers working on? Did they?
Team Asobi, they haven't actually mentioned much at all.
Yeah, so maybe something they shadow drop something.
I kind of feel like they're gonna make a PSVR 2 game.
Shadow drop a PSVR.
Is that still a thing? I feel like nobody's talking.
Oh gosh, no one talks about it anymore. It's
Sony actually started. It's in stores now. It's in select stores, so it moved over to that.
Hey,
so.
Sony showcase coming up, Sean. Let's go.
I mean, it's great for Gran Turismo, but
it is, yeah. But I get what you're saying.
That's it.
Unfinished says, how well do you think Armored Core is going to sell? I think it'll be the best selling Armored Core game ever made.
Yep.
500,000 copies, baby.
Yeah, that's all. It's not going to take much. It really won't.
It's gonna sell. It's gonna sell good enough.
But that collector's edition.
I really want that
yeah.
collector's edition.
I'm on that.
The big one or the one just below the big one?
The one below.
I want the big one.
I want the big ones. I got targeted because someone hit me up on Twitter, not even just in reply to like a picture of it, and said, "Oh, this is the type of shit Jordan would buy." And it was like, it's like not even to play the game, just because there's a some sort of statue. And I'm like, and I looked at it, I'm like, you don't know me. And I looked at it, I'm like, okay, that is kind of.
Yeah, are you already thinking of where you're gonna fit that whole hanger that the thing sits?
I have thought about it. I have thought about it. Put thought into it. Hey, I have not pre-ordered anything yet. Okay, but I have thought about it. Just
Future says Heat and 5.
It could be. I still think there's more fight left in us, but we'll see.
Got to make some threes. The threes are just not falling right now.
Exactly. Team game.
Peef says with the Herman Holtz interview, do you think Spider-Man 2 will be a live service? No, I don't think so. No,
that'd be a very big mistake.
That would be a big mistake.
Catastrophic mistake.
Yeah, that's a layup of 20 million sales if they do it right. Just don't do anything crazy with it. Just
don't do that, man.
You're good. I mean, we got Spider-Verse coming up here soon in theaters. Then we're gonna roll into Spider-Man 2. Yeah, I would just stay the course with that one. Stead says Game Pass effect, release it and fix it later.
I mean,
not good.
I can't really push back on that.
What did I say? It's not the full version of the game like they did with Sea of Thieves and they did with Grounded. I mean,
yeah,
beta tester. Like, I don't know. I'm not a big fan of that.
Rosh says, appreciate RGT's base takes this week, except for the Knicks. Jimmy Bucket's built different. Let's go Heat.
I mean, it's Michael Jordan's son. What do you want me to say?
Metroid says, does anyone think you will be able to fly around in Samus's gunship in Prime 4? And if so, how many load screens do you think there will be? I don't know. Retro is there's some wizards in general, but right? Yeah, I don't know. I think it'll be.
It's way too early to even know what's going on.
Jordan's out.
Coming out.
He made Jordan leave.
Jordan's
He's
gone.
tired of fucking Metroid.
I blame him.
Is he back?
Well, he's back because he thinks we're done talking about Metroid.
Seriously, just shut up.
All right.
Jalen says if Kotaku is going to be petty like this, then I wouldn't be surprised if cancel culture comes around and hit them.
They're the ones who perpetuate that sort of stuff, though. So.
Timon says, where do you draw the line on emulation? Me personally, I'll emulate the discontinued consoles, but support the current as far as purchasing.
I guess. I mean, well, you can't really emulate a lot of the current consoles, anyways.
Right.
I mean, people can do whatever they want. That's my stance. Do whatever the hell you want, however you feel like. Whatever.
Yeah, if they're
policing you guys' decisions.
Yeah, I mean, I would support the developer game that you would like more of in that.
Yeah.
I mean,
there's a franchise. I would buy the game.
There's a stigma that emulation just like ruins out games. I have bought a lot of games after emulating them. Back when I had the Max Media Drive on the Nintendo DS, which would allow you to have a donor cartridge, and each DS game was a different size. So Mario Hoops 3-on-3 was like one of the bigger games in terms of file size. So that could pretty much run everything. I played 777. 7 doors, 7 whatever. Via emulation on that, and then I was like, holy shit, I want to play this game, and I went on Amazon and bought it right then and there. So I don't think the people who pirate a game via emulation, like a brand new game, they were never going to buy the game in the first place. That's just my opinion on it.
I don't think if you're gonna obviously emulate or do whatever, you should support the devs. Like, that's how I feel that you should always support the devs. Like, I don't think you should take something because you weren't gonna get something. I don't believe in that. But like that, then you can say, oh, well, I wasn't going to buy a Porsche, so let me just go steal a Porsche. You know what I'm saying? Like, or I wasn't going to buy a house, so let me go, or I'm not going to buy this, let me go steal it. Like,
I'm just saying, I don't,
developer, you know?
I don't necessarily think it's like a lost sale, though, is kind of what I was saying. But someone did bring up a good point. You know, the whole preservation aspect, because the Video Game History Foundation, they're not going to preserve anything for you that you can access. So, I mean, you know, with the Wii U, just, you know, the Wii U eShop just closed down. 3DS eShop just closed down. Like, what are you?
Yeah, I get that, but like I'm just talking about like new games. Like I feel that like if somebody says, "Oh, I wasn't gonna buy it anyway, so I should just be able to take it," it's like, nah, that's not how it works.
No, I'm not saying that that's right. I'm just saying the mentality for me looking at it is that was never going to be a sale to begin with. So I don't look at that person as a lost sale. You could talk about the ethics, morality of it, this, that, and the other. I just don't think that person ever intended to buy the game.
Okay.
Do what you want. That's what I
There
think.
you go. There you go. Let's move over to Pixel Opus, who actually announced on Friday, yesterday, that they're closing down. They said, "Dear friends, our Pixel Opus adventure has come to an end as we look to new futures. Wanted to say a heartfelt thank you to millions of passionate players who have supported us in our mission to make beautiful, imaginative games with heart. We are so grateful." And then IGN did get a statement from Sony about this, saying PlayStation Studios regularly evaluates its portfolio and the status of studio projects to ensure they meet the organization's short and long-term strategic objectives. As part of a recent review process, it has been decided that Pixel Opus will close on June 2nd. Okay, I was one of the few people that cared about this. Pixel Opus made Concrete Genie. I liked that game. I thought it was very imaginative. I thought the story was fine. It was good. And I was curious what was up next for them, because they were actually working with PlayStation Pictures and Unreal Engine 5 for some sort of game. And I guess it did not make the cut. And it was either going to cost a lot of money or take too long or just wasn't what they wanted. And that's that. Pixel Opus is out. So I think it's unfortunate because it is one of their more creative studios in terms of that. What's the word for it? Kind of like how Japan Studios, of course,
Diversity,
very
portfolio.
unique titles.
Like a boutique studio almost. Is that what you're saying?
Just a studio that will like buck the trend, come up with something more artistic or different.
Wild card.
Sony's ruthless, man. They don't care. They will shut down the studio if it's not making them.
I don't even think Concrete Genie cost much money at all. I mean, it was sold at like a budget price anyway.
Or Phil Spencer, he gets all the criticism and all the shit, and then Sony just comes in and shuts down the studio, and nothing happens.
Just because not a lot of people played Concrete Genie, to be honest.
How many games did they make? How impactful were they?
It was
Concrete
that, and they
Genie.
made.
What did Concrete Genie sell? This is a business. What did
I don't know,
Concrete
but
Genie
John
sell?
played it. He liked
Exactly.
not many copies of it.
God, who cares? That's
No,
something we need.
they
That
never-
give me that sound clip.
They made that. They made like an Entwined or something. But
They
Concrete
never
Genie
announced
was
the
like,
sales though, right? Like they didn't ever say. what
I
the
don't think
sales
Concrete
were.
Genie sold
Yeah,
much
but-
now. No, I don't think so. I think it was it's a Japan Studios production kind of sale. So it was probably a couple 100,000 units, and that was it. And this is probably a studio that would have stuck around in like the old days of PlayStation just for that diverse lineup. But hey, the thing I keep saying about Jim Ryan, he's a numbers guy, and he's
Jim Ryan, man, he's like, we
he
didn't.
is. He
We
is.
lost $20,000 from the studio. No,
I feel like this is something that showed up on a spreadsheet and got deleted immediately, basically. Like, really. So,
on a spreadsheet.
I mean, that's kind of how this feels like a
Microsoft
spreadsheet decision
Excel.
to me.
Excel. They were just like, wait a minute, hold up here.
I don't even know how many people. I don't even think that many people like worked at Pixel. I thought it was a small studio.
Jim Ryan's the type to do that, like fire somebody, even if like his whole family was working there. He like still fire him. He still like let them be like, hey, you guys are going home. Like, wait,
They're in San Francisco. San Mateo.
Yep. They were founded in 2014. So
Wait, you said San Mateo?
9 years.
oh,
very
they were
expensive.
like, oh hell no, those rent costs. That's
Yeah.
the reason. That's the real
Yeah.
reason why.
Yeah.
Everyone's making at least 200,000 a year over there. That's probably why.
I don't know how expensive San Mateo is. Hell no, I would not move there even if I was rich.
Says there was about 15 people who worked there, 15 to 20.
That's a lot of money, bro. That's millions of dollars into that studio.
So I think Sean's right though, in that Concrete Genie wasn't a big seller. and they probably were projecting that their next project would cost even more money and was probably not going to. It was probably some weird thing too. Let's
You got to
face
look
it.
at how much it takes to make the game. If people are buying the game, and did you make money? Yes. Okay, we'll keep you around. No. Yeah, all right. Sorry. It sucks. Nobody, unless it's Kotaku, then they can all lose their jobs.
gosh.
But you don't want people to lose jobs and lose income and stuff. But that's part of life. I'm sure everyone on this panel has lost a job or quit a job or something or another. Like,
Concerning to see a studio like this get closed down at Sony when you do look at their games, and it doesn't feel like as imaginative as the PS3 generation, starting with games like Folklore, for example, showing up. I don't know, something like seeing Concrete Genie get axed basically after.
Well, I talked about how Xbox doesn't take risks. I mean, Sony doesn't really either. I mean, let's be honest. But the difference is that they have Insomniac and Naughty Dog and these big studios that have been doing these fantastic single player campaign, narrative driven over the shoulder experiences for years, and they know how to do it very well. So they don't have to take as many risks, I guess, as what Xbox does, because they are leading the charge right now. Well, with Nintendo, of course, but they don't really need to take those risks. So I think this was they looked at their forecast. They said, this is a cost center we could probably eliminate because it's not really going to be helpful to us over the next X number of years. And that was that. They just, like you said, Jim Ryan's a numbers guy, and it was a line item on an Excel spreadsheet, and said, yep, let's make that money come back to us. And that was that.
I'm curious because Pixel Opus going away, Media Molecule still kicking. Very interesting. I don't know, because they obviously with Dreams now they're moving on to something else. I don't know.
They did Little Big Planet?
They did a Little Big Planet.
Yeah.
Then Dream. They've been doing Dreams for a while, forever.
Didn't they shut down the new stuff for Dreamers?
They're moving on from Dreams finally, but I don't even know what that was. It feels like a waste of 9 years. That's what it feels like for Media Molecule. So
I think a lot of people created some awesome stuff with.
I think Dreams should have come out for the PC with full mouse and keyboard support. I think that really would have helped.
Should have been Nights into Dreams too. Direct sequel.
I think they did
that sounds like one that Jim Ryan would get mad hitting the delete button on the spreadsheet. But yeah, Pixel Opus is out June 2nd. So I'm sure, again, a lot of creativity there. I'm sure hopefully they'll find new positions elsewhere. Or I don't know. Sony didn't necessarily say they're getting rid of everyone. Maybe they're absorbing them into other parts of the company. So
maybe they can work on the Carbon engine.
Maybe they could.
Evan, you have a Discord question?
Nah, we're good.
Okay. Let's go back over to Super Chats. I just want to say two things. Did you know the Asia version of Tears of the Kingdom is actually 60 instead of 70? I also wonder about if there is a cut day one DLC with the cartridge size smaller. No, the cartridge size has been kind of jumping around a bit, but it seems like the file size coming in like 16.3 or something.
It's a 32 gig card. We're expecting it's going to be, right?
Yeah, we still are, because it is right up against the 16 gig, but it sounds like it's different per region. So
yeah, it's different per region.
Yeah. McLeod says, OJ, whatever happened to Project Refantasy from Atlas? Also, now that RGT is now the emulation guy, what accent will he be speaking in?
British.
Project it's still in development. We should see it this year. So I know it's been a long time, but we should see it this year. Project Refantasy, then also the Grand Blue Fantasy, whatever, Relink. Both of those games, it's been a long development period, but both of them should be shown off this year.
Cool. Steven says, I have a 2DS with 75 games installed on an SD card. I'm assuming those are ones that were purchased from the eShop. From Mario, Zelda, Sonic, Smash, and tons more. What would you value that at? Thanks, ladies and gents.
I mean, value is subjective. Nothing has a value unless, I know that's not what you want to hear, but nothing has a value unless somebody pays for it. So, I mean, just look around on like eBay sold listings or stuff. Maybe even look at like Etsy, because they sell a lot of emulation and shit related to that on there. DSs and 3DSs are expensive right now.
Yeah, they really are. They definitely went up in price after the shutdown happened. So
I'm not. People think I'm playing. I'm playing fucking Revolution X right now. I like this game. Yeah. So you could probably get a decent. Like, are you looking to sell it? Like, there's value versus sold listing. It's a whole thing.
It's also super easy to hack a 3DS. Or
very
3DS.
true. Because
I didn't know.
Josie showed me how to do it.
Hey.
And you got defeated by cardboard. That's impressive.
Fuck cardboard. Fuck Labo.
Fuck Mario Sunshine.
Exactly.
16-bit says Zelda will get lower Metacritic in sales than Breath of the Wild, but I'll love it more personally. Where's Moon Studios at? Love y'all watching live in the UK. Moon Studios sounds like they're getting ready to show something, and we're going to talk about our last topic here in a second.
I can't wait for Tears of the Kingdom opening sales to come out. I cannot wait. It's going to be fun.
It'll be fast. Like I said, it's going to be the fastest selling Zelda game. There will be a PR statement from Nintendo. It'll be a whole thing.
Yeah,
so
you'll get that probably Sunday, Monday.
It'd be it might be maybe like opening like for business week Monday. Even put the PR out.
Even afterwards, like even the sustained afterwards, I think people are going to be. Well, I'm not going to be surprised, but I think other people will be surprised.
Fee says much UK love to Snow White and her 6 dwarves. 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, that's us. Thank you. Casual says RGT rails on Kotaku for making an article on emulating a Switch game, and then RGT makes a video on how to emulate Switch games. For the record, I like RGT.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not. My video on Kotaku was not about them. Like, I can't believe they talked about emulating Metroid Dread. I don't give a shit. My point was the fact that they felt entitled to be invited to these Nintendo events while doing that. I don't expect Nintendo. I'm well aware Nintendo doesn't like me. That's fine. I don't expect them to do shit for me. That's the difference. Plus, emulation isn't an emulator is not illegal.
Yeah, that's the problem. It's the entitlement. Like, exactly. I didn't get invited to Nintendo's Tears of the Kingdom event. I'm not entitled to, even though I've been covering it like crazy, and they do like me. You know what I'm saying? Like, and like they do send me codes for like games and stuff for me to review. And
yeah, they like OJ. They don't like. Exactly.
Yeah, and that doesn't mean I'm entitled to go there over, let's say, Nindy Fangirl, who has way less subs than me or whatever the case. I was happy for her. Cool.
Her.
No. Shout outs to her. No, for real. But she's awesome.
Beefing.
No, I wasn't. It's no hate, but I'm just trying to show, like, just because she went over me, that doesn't mean that there's something or that I'm more entitled than anybody else. Kotaku thinks that because they have more viewers or more, they said millions of readers, that they're entitled to go. You're not entitled to shit.
Cap.
You're not. Well, whatever. I looked up their stats, right, in terms of like the traffic. Like, it looks like they're a multi-million-dollar site, or they generate that much in ad revenue, or whatever the case is. Whoever they're owned by, but they feel that they're entitled for that because of their base or because of their readers. You're not entitled to anything. Somebody that has way less subs or whatever can go over you. So that's the issue that I have. Not because, like Sean said, but you're not entitled to a damn thing.
Do you know how many like content creators out there got things like PlayStation 5s and Xbox Series X's over me and other people on this panel? Did we go out there and it's like, no, whatever, who cares? Like, companies work in different ways. Nintendo is the weirdest company of them all. They love these small, like, wholesome channels and shit. They send them like fucking care packages. It's like, cool, do you? I don't care.
To be fair, you did stand up one time.
Horse Twitter.
To be fair, one time you did stand up on the podcast and your pants fell down, so they might have crossed you off the list right there.
That was probably the funniest shit I've ever seen.
It happens. What can I say?
You mooned it like 3,000 people.
I did get a lot of we did get a couple of sponsorship offers after that, though.
Say?
Remind me of the
From
scene
Manscaped.
of, like, remember the scene of 8 Mile? With D-Rabbit? Remember that scene?
Yeah.
Take my white ass back across the 8 Mile.
Let's talk about the last topic, Xbox Showcase. They wanted to remind us this week for some weird reason. It was very strange. All of a sudden, they wanted to remind us that other games are still happening. But the Xbox Showcase, June 11th, they will be... It sounds like they're going to do roughly 90 minutes. Seems like this is a 2-hour show with Starfield Direct following immediately after that showcase ends. And now everyone looks towards the second half of this year with Redfall in the rearview mirror in the 50s. How do they recover? What's the move here for the showcase? Phil did say that there would be a clear-cut answer for Starfield if it would have a 60 frames mode. So he's like, we'll be very clear about it. I hope that means that it's just going to be in the trailer, 60 FPS or something, or they're going to talk about it. And yes, it's 60, but there's also a possibility that's not. But what do we need Microsoft to show? What are you hoping to see at this showcase?
Well, I'll start. I think first of all, they need to do away with we're only showing you what's happening in the next 12 months because that experiment completely failed. So put that back in your bag of tricks and never show it out again because it didn't work, right? Look, I think we're going to see. I mean, the low-hanging fruit obviously is Forza. We're going to see more of that. Hopefully, that'll get a date. I would like. If it doesn't get a date, then we have a problem. I mean, let's be honest, right?
Yeah.
Because we have to get a date for Forza. Obviously, Starfield that has its own thing, and I think Starfield will show well. It'll present well, and it's going to be really good. I do think it's going to have a performance mode. Personally, I don't know anything about it, but I feel like they'll have a performance mode for the game. Hellblade 2 is another game that they have to show us and give us a date for. I feel like that game is close. I don't know if it's done, but it's close. And beyond that, we want to see what's going on with Avowed because we haven't heard about that game since we saw that initial reveal. And I don't know what else. I mean, they've obviously got Perfect Dark and Fable, but I don't really know how far along we are in development with those games. But hopefully they'll show us some, encouraging updates on both of those and see where things are at.
That does seem like a problem, is that there's a lot of questions around just games we've heard about for years now, if they're coming out or like when they're coming out, really.
We're also forgetting about games that they've announced as well.
Yeah, like
in the
replaced?
past. Well, yeah, replaced in the past maybe
a
couple months of us talking about this. None of us has even said Stalker 2.
Yep.
Like,
also,
no
where's
one cares.
Silksong?
Yeah.
Like they're the ones that announced. Well, they had their thing with Silksong almost a year ago, right? And that was supposed to be in the next 12 months. We haven't seen it. So yeah, I mean, you're right, Evan. There's definitely kind of the smaller bite-sized things that they've already announced and we've kind of forgotten about, but they still have to kind of let us know what's going on there as well.
Oh, Replaced did look really cool. I'd like to see that. I'd like to get a date for that one. Okay, so they do have a lot of ground to make up now after Redfall. I would like to see them get very creative, as Josie mentioned, to have something kind of come out of left field like that Hi-Fi Rush. I think that would be a good one to have ready to go. It doesn't have to be a shadow drop. Josie, is there anything that would pull you in here that you would like to see Microsoft, whether they fund something or they revive an IP or they show up with something even new that you've just kind of outlined in your mind?
Seeing anything from Rare would be pretty exciting, just to see like if they're doing anything or what's going on with that. I'd honestly be really down to just like get a roadmap of what's going on with Xbox for the next year or something, just so we know that there's actually games coming out.
We're not going to get anything cool from Rare. We're going to get a Sea of Thieves expansion pack 7 is out.
I got to move on. Sea of Thieves was good, but we got to get a new game out here.
Well, they just released a documentary where I was starring it.
I just got an email about an update for it.
So they do have Everwild, is apparently what Rare is working on. Maybe they have an update for that. That looked
maybe they figured out what it was.
Okay, yeah, maybe they figured out
going the RTS route.
Well, let me counter that. What if they haven't figured out what it is yet? Like they can't make the same mistake as Redfall. They need to just kill it.
Yeah, Redfall does feel kind of like it didn't quite know what it wanted to be.
Compulsion.
I just like to see something fun, I guess.
Something fun.
Good luck.
I like it. Okay. Compulsion still needs to show their game, whatever it is they're working on. In Exile, same deal. Indiana Jones. I wouldn't mind seeing that. I think that'd be kind of cool.
That would be a hype announcement. If we can actually get to see some gameplay of Indiana
making that?
Jones.
Isn't it Machine?
Machine Games, I believe.
Okay. Who's working on that? Yeah. There was also talk that they were working on Wolfenstein 3 as well.
I don't think that's real.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know if that's real.
Collection of some kind?
Xbox Series Z, like this, the super.
Dude, if Xbox announces new hardware, which they won't, and they introduce a third SKU into the mix, developers are just going to be like, "We're done. We're done."
You got to combat the PlayStation 5 Pro.
They will. All right, so Xbox will have new hardware, I believe, at the showcase.
What? You think there's going to be new hardware?
In the
do.
form of a controller.
They're going to have a Starfield controller and they'll have a Starfield headset.
Oh, yeah.
do the laugh. Do the Nate laugh. There we go.
They will have that. All right. so
Okay,
get ready
that's
for
the new
one.
one. But I mean, they already have a bunch of controllers, so yeah, I knew that they were probably going to do more controllers. Colt has like 15 controllers in his background when he does his vids. So the controllers they're doing a good job on the controllers. I can give him that.
I'd like to see another meaningful investment in a Japanese studio, not like buying them, but investing to either bring something to Game Pass to help with development, like they did with Wolong and then the marketing, or just outright funding one. Just, we're going to do this with you guys. Let's make it happen. And it could be from any developers out there, whether it is Koei or Sega. Sega's been partnering with Microsoft for their Azure servers, so maybe they help.
That'll happen. I think that, I mean, they did Persona 5, they did Game Pass and all. Those are, nobody played them on there, but they're fantastic Game Pass
Let's
games.
get the bag. They're probably okay. They're like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
There you go.
Well, Atlas was like, we'll take it. Nobody was going to buy it anyway on there.
Yeah, maybe something with Square even. I don't know. Apparently, there's a fractured relationship there. Yeah, you know what? Money heals a lot.
Kojima.
Kojima.
We got him last year, though.
I wonder, would he be really ready to show anything from that game? Because he wasn't ready to show even a concept art piece. I don't know.
He took over Everwild.
Oh gosh, that's the twist.
Yeah.
Kojima would be announcing games like 10 years in advance, bro, because you know him. So.
Any more backwards compatibility, or they're not going back to that at all? They're just done.
I said they're done, right?
FPS boost, anything.
I don't think so, unless the ABK deal goes through. Then they'll look at bringing some of their back catalog in as well. But no back compat stuff.
How do you think they go about closing out the year? Then do we get dates for Forza?
Forza, Redfall, Forza, Hellblade 2, and Starfield.
You think Hellblade 2 is coming out this year?
Interesting.
I give it 60% possibility that it
That
will.
would be a big. That'd be a big release.
That'd be a big game. If they have those 3 games for the second half of the year, that's pretty damn good.
Forza,
as long as they turn out good.
Yeah, as long as Hellblade's not like a 4-hour tech demo.
Let's say Starfield is their next big release, September. Forza could fit in November. I don't know. I'm trying to think of where Hellblade would go. I mean, maybe they could do legitimately September, October, November, and then.
They're not at a point where it's like, oh, we don't want like what? Too many people are gonna play on your system. Oh God.
Well, they'd also have to. Call of Duty's going to come out this year as well in November, we assume October, November. So you start kind of trying to piece together their release without running into third parties.
It's all Game Pass though, so does it matter? Like, I know it matters, but does it like matter too much?
I guess that's been the question this whole time with Game Pass.
I mean, you can like launch things like right next. You can launch it like the next month. They'll be like, oh well, you know, whatever. Like people will pick up whatever they want to play when they want to play it.
Yeah.
Jordan, what do you want to see from Xbox?
Games. something, anything. Update us on Gears. Give us anything at this point. Something exciting, something new, something old.
Do you like Gears, Jordan? I didn't know.
I love Gears. I love Gears of War. I'm not a fan of some of the direction in 5 with the open world stuff, but I still like the series. Yeah, I still want that series to continue. I want more from it. I want to see what Fable is. We still have no idea. I want to see what Perfect Dark is. I want to get some updates on anything. We're about to hit 3 years since Fable was announced. Stuff like that. And what have we seen? What do we know?
I feel like we had an update on either Perfect Dark or Fable. One of the two.
We need updates on both. I just don't know what that would look like. But they have to give us an update on those games.
Yeah.
Something.
Mario Sunshine.
That too.
I also wouldn't mind seeing them kind of take a page out of Sony's book, how Sony went and technically licensed Spider-Man from Marvel, and Xbox licensed a character of their own and created an original game. I think Hulk fits in with the marketing. It's green, the green Xbox, and that would work. Or they
Well,
could,
you could do a lot of fun. I mean, what was the Hulk game that was good back?
Ultimate Destruction.
Ultimate Destruction. Yeah.
That's all you got to do. Just don't do that fucking Crackdown 3 need the power of the cloud destruction bullshit.
Yeah, just make a great game.
Yeah.
Nope.
That might do it.
Good enough. Nope.
Totally
Doesn't help. Doesn't sell.
I'm
joking.
Do you think any third party showing would really get people excited? I know like for Xbox, like when you align yourself with marketing for these big third parties, like Sony will do with something like Hogwarts Legacy, you can almost make it look like it's only on your system. Do you think there's any way they can get a third party to just show up at their showcase without it being on Game Pass and it not be confusing for people?
Yeah, money talks.
They have money.
All right, if they got the money, it's time to debut GTA 6.
That'd be a big
Break
thing.
glass moment, right? Take Two, get on the phone. We're doing it. GTA 6.
Take Two would ask for literally Microsoft in exchange for Game Pass. Like, you give us Microsoft.
I'm trying to think of. Hey, I'm picturing.
Y'all get GTA on Game Pass.
I'm picturing a disheveled Phil Spencer at his desk. Like, what am I gonna do? And then he looks over and sees Strauss' picture there. He's like, you know what?
Xbox will have $66 billion to spend after they pay the $3 million.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. They will have. They will.
Well, $3 billion, I should say.
Man.
Dang, that's a lot. It's a big fine. $3 billion?
Yeah, they got to pay
Yeah,
Activision $3 billion. Yeah, if they don't close the deal and they move on.
Activision's like, well, it could be worse.
Yeah.
Get $3 billion, you did nothing and win. Luigi or something like that, or what? Did absolutely nothing.
I mean, Activision's kind of taking a beating on their stock price and stuff, and that's probably where that $3 billion is supposed to help make up. But yeah, I don't know if it'll be a net negative or not for them, but
it'd still be rough for them. That's true.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying GTA goes to Game Pass. There's people in the chat. I'm just saying they just show it there, and it's like, oh, you remember Game Pass? Yes, but like GTA 6 got shown there. It's big time. Get the buzz going again.
Yeah, I remember.
That'd be a big steal over because I feel like Sony has the big.
Wait, was it Peter Moore that lifted up the shirt with the GTA tattoo?
Yeah,
not those Halo. Was it GTA?
I think he did it with GTA 4.
Oh,
GTA 4.
He just liked doing that.
Let's bring that back.
He just liked doing that.
You want to see Phil Spencer do that?
Bring back.
Turns around, he has a tramp stamp.
Jordan, that's it right there. If they pop up a GTA 6, that'd get you talking about.
They got a new one
Xbox
now.
I mean,
all the girls have it. That's
sure. I don't know. It doesn't matter because like that's a third party. It's multi-plat, right?
Yeah.
It doesn't excite me. It's like cool. I'm gonna last minute decide which console I want it on right before it comes out. Like that's.
I didn't expect Evan to say
what?
Just Phil Spencer with a GTA 6 tramp stamp.
Because he might have one. He might have.
Maybe that's a condition. He has to get that if they want to have marketing for GTA 6.
If I was to, I'd be like, yes, do that, 100%, or we ain't showing up.
He's trying to get that Redfall tramp stamp removed first. Got to get the laser.
Damn.
Let's finish up with some of these super chats here. I'm gonna go through them. There's a bunch that piled up with him pretty quick. Do you think this is from Cody? Do you think Phil was right when he said losing last gen caused long-term harm? Digital games causing gamers to stay with systems longer than before.
No, it's just. I mean, to some extent, I'm sure it's true, but not to the detrimental extent that he's trying to make it out to be.
Lou says, "Hey guys and gals, what's your biggest fear related to gaming? Mine might be losing my Breath of the Wild save, and my wife's is losing her Animal Crossing save." Ooh, yeah, that's probably a lot of hours.
I lost my Animal Crossing save once. That was fun.
Oh yeah, that's when you couldn't back up for a while there. That's right.
Yep.
Balon Wonderworld.
Casual says RGT. Okay, we just went over that one. That's where it stopped. Dark Type says, do you think Tears of the Kingdom is going to be the final Zelda game for a long time, at least for 10 years until a bigger Breath of the Wild experience happens?
Not 10 years.
Not 10 years, but I think it'll be probably a while.
Like 6 or 7 years, probably. It's going to be a minute.
I mean, that's how Tears of the Kingdom was to Breath of the Wild.
Yeah. Ruffle says, this is slowly turning into an Iwata moment for Xbox.
Please understand.
I don't get it.
turnaround from Wii U to Switch, or
No,
just having to explain
the
Okay,
please understand, like, hey, this
Oh.
is always giving excuses and stuff like that.
Got
you
it.
know?
Yikes, bearing a wada here. All right.
Quinn says Wii U flopped and Nintendo came back with games. RoboCop says, what's your take on shills like Colt Eastwood that have zero integrity and worship Xbox no matter what? After being flown out, he released a preview that praised Redfall down to every small detail. His preview is hilarious.
Okay, hold up, time out here. Colt, if you watch this last video, first of all, I like Colt. Okay.
I liked his
If you
last
watch-
video.
His last video was extremely critical, and he's been critical. Now, he got smixed on this when it comes to the previews, okay? He should have maybe asked a few more questions, but they put in front of him a PC and the game. That's what they put in front of him.
But time out. The PC version of the game has got a lower Metacritic
But
score.
supposedly it's tied to the DRM in it, and if it's something from within the Xbox community or the Xbox system, they might have not had the DRM built in at that moment, so it could have.
Or
run
there
better.
could have been things where their build or whatever the case was. So I see what you're saying, but like calling him names and sitting there saying he never says anything like that, that's uncalled for. And if you watch his last video, watch it. Like, instead of coming here to rush to call somebody another grown man names, go there, watch his video, see what he has to say first, and I guarantee you'll change your mind in terms of, like, you won't, say stuff like that.
Joe says, I know Microsoft hasn't had the best track record lately, but why does no one mention how Psychonauts 2 was the best platformer since Mario Odyssey? Psychonauts 2 was very good. I said I liked it a lot when that came out.
Well, I mentioned it was good, right?
Multi-platform.
I think the issue that they've run into is that was actually a while ago now, and they came out with some good games, right? They had Forza Horizon 5, and then they went like 18 months before their next full price game, which was Redfall.
And it also was multi-platform.
Yeah, Psychonauts 2 was multi-platform, yeah, but
If they make more projects like that, though, that'd be very exciting, and I'd be more into Xbox.
more Psychonauts 2 games. Get Double Fine going. Back the truck up to Double Fine and Tango.
I should put Jurassic Park, the arcade game, on there. That's what I'm playing right now. This game's fucking amazing.
Okay. Fusion says an 11 out of 10 Starfield might not be enough to get me to sell my PS5, but a Redfall after a dead 2022 and no launch games in 2020 is enough for me to sell my Xbox. I have no faith left in Xbox. Delt says Xbox still have upcoming games that could make them redeem themselves. No point in selling my Xbox now if they can still turn things around. Zbat says games won't sell a system. Just ask Nintendo. Phil Spencer.
Agreed.
Brian says finished Xenoblade 2 DLC, Torna, and am baffled that you have to finish almost 50 side quests in order to advance the main story. Is this bad game design?
No, that's Xenoblade, the greatest fucking. Come on now.
Xenoblade's incredible, but in Xenoblade Chronicles 3, you don't have to do that, so they removed it. So that was an annoying thing. I like to do all the side quests anyway, so I didn't even notice it because I do all the side quests. But yeah, they did remove that in the future redeemed DLC. So
the way I understood, Phil, is that even if they sell 5, 11 out of 10 games, it would realistically take Sony and Nintendo to fumble for them to even ever catch up.
That's still not an excuse. You want to put your best foot forward. Now it just sounds like you're going to half-ass stuff. Like, oh, why should we even try? You know, it could be a great game. Should we even bother trying to make a great game? Like, it's terrible optics.
Lakers are kicking the shit out of the Golden State Warriors right now.
Get angry, Phil. Phil needs to get angry. Casual says Phil can't believe what he's saying. He has to be posturing regulators. I can forgive Redfall flop, but that defeatist attitude should be let go. I don't know if I was still posturing for Activision Blizzard. I don't know if that's even going to work anymore.
I know a lot of people kind of, and we did here as well, kind of dissected all his quotes and everything. But he's just had a really bad couple of weeks.
You had a bad day.
He's definitely had a rough couple of weeks.
Yeah, so I don't really put too much stock into his words. You know, the things that he said that were a little, some of those
He did
takes.
look kind of antsy when he was towards the end of that whole thing. Like he wasn't having fun. Yeah. Chill says one more thing: Morrowind and Daggerfall. Starfield 1 Daggerfall is free and has a source port, and 2 Morrowind is like $5 on GOG or on Game Pass.
Nice.
Cody says when I buy an LG TV, I don't expect them to make TV shows or movies. Why do console makers need to create exclusives? Why is game hardware different?
Well, they're just in the business of both.
Yeah.
Like Sony could just be like, you know, okay, all we make is the hardware, and people put their stuff on the platform. But then why would I buy their hardware if the other console can do that too?
Also,
so that's
a
part
lot
of
of
it.
companies over the years have tried making consoles and failed. Look at Philips, the CDI,
Look at Sega.
the Panasonic with the 3DO. I mean,
Apple Pippin.
Poor
Yep.
Trip
Hey,
Hawkins.
there it
Yep.
is. Pippin. I like it.
Like Scotty.
Look at Scotty. Look at his fucking ex-wife. Jesus Christ.
Well, one more thing. He says everyone is building a digital library, but aren't like 30-40% still physical. Also, me out here buying physical PC games. Yeah, there's
From
still
where?
a digital library or physical library people
Limited
keep.
run
And
games, probably.
there's also younger gamers who come into the hobby every single generation as it is, and their first system is that generation. So,
like even the Intellivision Amico like failed. And I mean,
oh
fuck.
gosh,
is it though?
dark,
Should've been a
dark,
home run.
For a live stream last night.
REBCS.
Sounds like it's well and truly back on.
dark type says, Hi-Fi Rush got me to rejoin Game Pass after 6 months.
Nice.
Rex says, where are the good games you can't play? Fall of Cybertron anywhere. Xbox right now is a huge paperweight. I should have bought the Xbox Series fridge. Apparently you can't use that as a fridge, by the way. It's like a warning sticker on it.
What?
Warning, this fridge is not a fridge.
Basically, yes.
Jesus.
Casual says, Reggie has a set of skills to be bad cop. It might be time to use them. And Andre says, Xbox ain't got games. Chad Warden. And then Jordan says, Josie said Xbox had no games this gen, and that just isn't accurate. I can count at least 9 games from first party in less than 3 years. Before Redfall, they had a critic average well above 80.
Yeah,
9
get
games
fucked,
in
Josie.
3 years. That's crazy. Look at Nintendo.
Is that Pincini in the chat?
Bob says the last exciting Xbox exclusive was Halo 5. Wow. What? No, what? No, hold on.
It could have been Jurassic World, the arcade game, but they won't do it.
Xbox console exclusive, maybe. Oh, man. Might be onto something. Iol says, hi, guys. Any YouTube channel you can recommend apart from yours? Thanks. Greetings from France.
YouTube.com/Dreamcast guy.
I once stumbled into horse Twitter.
I like to watch Mr. Sujano.
Yeah, there it is, Sean. Plug him. There you go.
He is.
Sean's learned a lot.
He's an emulation YouTuber. He's taught me a lot. He's like my father, pretty much. Like at this point.
Oh, you finally found him.
He has a very soothing voice. No, my real dad's dead.
Sing the song, Sean.
Mr.
You know who's a pretty interesting channel? The gamer from Mars. He has some really interesting topics that he talks about. So I like that guy.
Like Mudaha, some modern gamers.
Miguel says Mario Galaxy 2 score 97. Could see Tears of the Kingdom do the same. Corey asks RGT. Oh, RGT, we got the after show, right? Coming up.
Yeah,
soon.
we're gonna run the after show for a little bit.
At least
Hellman
until his
says-
internet crashes.
MHG,
I got the Ethernet cable.
are there any good games about bikes? Bikies? Bike?
Bikies?
Yes.
Sure.
Days Gone. The GTA DLC, Lost and the Damned. It's a good one. Full Throttle is a great point and click adventure game by Tim Schafer.
Days Gone.
What was it?
Yeah, Days Gone. Mention that.
Road to Hell Retribution, something like that. That's a great game.
Yeah.
Okay. Michael says,
Astral Chain.
what's your all's favorite retro game from back in the day? I like Mega Man X.
Jurassic
Chrono
Park, the
Trigger.
arcade game. This is fucking amazing.
Chrono
I've never
Trigger.
gotten this far.
Chrono Trigger.
Chrono Trigger.
Wii Sports.
Wii Sports. What? Hold on a minute. You just said Wii Sports.
I mean, it's like what? 05?
Yeah, you're right. Yeah,
That was a
technically
deep
that's
cut.
17 years ago.
No,
Wow.
Retro.
Drew says Crazy Mega Man Battle Network collection sold 1 million copies. Now the question is, will Capcom develop a sequel?
Yes.
They were smart. They would.
Yes.
Yeah, no, it's
I
time.
have a tiny bit of non-verified information on that. Capcom is literally perplexed on how that game did so well.
I can see that.
So they
I
are
believe it.
they are looking into things a bit more. There we go.
They should
But
be very perplexed. I think everyone's very perplexed.
They don't, because like their Mega Man collections didn't do anywhere near as good.
No, Mega Man 11 didn't do that good that fast.
No, Mega Man 11.
Maybe
outsold Mega Man 11. It's my
Maybe all the,
at this point. Yeah.
maybe all the other Mega Man games just aren't as good.
Well, Mega Man 11 was the most successful Mega Man game they've released in terms of sales. That
not
was like
anymore.
1.6 million, but this one will pass at the collection.
Yeah.
Yep. This is from Ossis. Have any of y'all checked your PlayStation Stars level as of late? There is currently a BD1 collectible trophy for the digital shelf. I forgot about PlayStation Stars.
Bro, my PlayStation 5 hasn't been on in months.
Why the hell would I want a digital roar? What the hell does
Jordan,
that
you
do
play
for
Burning
me?
Shores.
No, you don't.
I don't.
Jordan, just play Jurassic Park on the fucking arcade emulator. This
Bro,
is amazing.
Horizon's story did not make me even excited for the next Horizon game by the end of it. Why would I want to play the DLC?
Also, I totally bought a Sinden light gun.
Did you?
Yeah,
I need a review on that.
I'll make it. I got the cheap one. I'm a cheap person.
Fist says, my wife and I have a baby boy due in July. Congratulations. We are planning to decorate our nursery with some type of video game IP. Any suggestions? Not Resident Evil.
Chrono Trigger.
American McGee's Alice.
I think Animal Crossing probably leans into that pretty well.
The
You got a
guy
nice little
game.
village set up and gosh. I think Animal Crossing. I think Animal Crossing is a good one. I think I can play into it really well.
Jurassic Park, the arcade game.
Kind of like little animals there, neighbors,
Dinosaurs.
and stuff.
Kids love
Raptor leaning
dinosaurs.
over the freaking crib.
Yeah.
Shantae.
Mover says going to be at TMG this year. Yeah, I will be there.
Yeah, I might. I'm still
I'll be there.
debating.
I'll be there.
I need to. I'll be there. I'm pretty sure I will be.
Hits Overhype says, anyone play the new update for Sonic PO6? It's the best feeling 3D Sonic game out right now and shows how good Sonic 06 could have been with enough time. I did not try that.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Listen, as the biggest Sonic fan here, who's always rooting for the little blue thing, I even hear about this. No one ever told me. Yeah, whatever. Trash
Sonic,
hog.
Sonic P06.
Yeah.
Well, they're supposed to. I mean, Sonic Origins is getting the update and new characters in June.
Lakers are winning by like 40 right now.
How?
Goodness gracious. They're like beating the crap out of them.
Let me start going around here as we're working through the super chats. MVG, where can everyone find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Modern Vintage G and on YouTube at Modern Vintage Gamer. Check out Nate the Hate's episode today where we discuss the potential Switch sales for Tears of the Kingdom. And I have a video coming out on Monday, and that's about it. Have a great week.
Papa says, going to be humming Todd Howard, the musical, when Starfield drops with 30 FPS, microtransactions to fix the game, bugs galore. Matthew says, could Sega return as a console maker? Do you think it would do good? A fourth major console would be great, in my opinion.
Just drop the Dreamcast Mini and call it good.
That's all we need. Dreamcast Mini. That's it. Yeah.
Sega mismanages their software portfolio. Why would they get back into the?
Yeah, they're the worst. It's and plus I'm like the only fucker getting excited because they're like, oh, there's 12 new games coming out this fiscal year. Many we haven't announced yet. And it's like, oh, great, they're gonna do virtual. No, they're not gonna do Virtua Fighter. They're not gonna do Shining Force. They're not gonna do traditional Phantasy Star. They're not gonna do any of that shit because they like to disappoint me.
Coming.
And you know who made the game I'm playing right now, Jurassic Park Arcade? Sega.
Gaming says, hey, Spawnwave, been a subscriber since the GameCube teardown 5 years ago. Love your content. Thanks, Gaming. H-Band says, Armored Core has a Steam option with the special edition, which should be more common. Mr. Davis, here to test me.
I like it.
What's up?
Always
Yeah,
a good
what's up, OJ? I got a question. Do you think Square Enix go to mid part 2 the Android game or the Branos switched, yes or no? No spelled KNOW.
I understood that.
Yeah, I think that it's interesting, when you look at all the things considering like what's been going on. But Phil Spencer, he's out there, so I feel you, Mr. Davis.
Okay. Gaming 101 again. Thanks, Gaming. And then they say, who remembers Mario Party 2?
I forgot that one. I remembered 1 and 3, but that was
like
2.
Dude, every time I look back at all of them, I always forget that there was a second one.
Really? Yeah. That was the one with where they had the Western town and he had the pop gun?
How could I forget the cowboy hat on the cover? It always slips my mind. I go, there's 1, 3,
the
4,
East End
5.
boys and the West End girls.
West
Right.
End girls.
Jordan, where can everyone find you?
You can find me on either Jordan Fringe or Jordan Fringe Gaming. I'm putting out longer, bigger content over on the main channel, on the gaming channel. Yeah, it's movies, TV shows, all that fun stuff. I have a big Mario Hoops 3-on-3 video coming this week on the gaming channel, funny enough. I know we mentioned that earlier. But yeah, thanks for having me on. Appreciate it.
Ford says their Zelda Metacritic score prediction is 93. Ruffle says, Sony, if you don't make generic third-person games, GTFO. Gaming says if you never played Diddy Kong Racing as a kid, wow, that's a good game. Michael says
Okay.
I've been playing my old GBA library some lately. If you played GBA, what was your favorite game?
Metroid Fusion.
Yeah.
Fusion was a good one. Yeah. Let's see. How about OJ? Where can everyone find you?
You can find me right here on YouTube. Player Essence got some cool Zelda videos that are going up. Be doing more of that, live streams as well, giving away Zelda Tears of the Kingdom Switch. So you go subscribe, vote on what your favorite Zelda game is.
Yes.
Can I
What's
enter?
up?
Can I enter? Because I didn't buy one.
Yes, you can absolutely enter. I'm picking
Can I
one
use a bot
randomly.
farm to enter?
You know, just
You know,
drive
sure.
to your house tomorrow, OJ, and just pick it up.
Sure,
Maybe the
sure,
trouble-
no problem. So, yeah, subscribe to the channel. Go to the community page. Vote on your favorite Zelda game. It's on there. There's like thousands of people already voting. So, yeah,
How's Phantom Hourglass doing?
actually, Phantom Hourglass it's got 15% of the vote.
Let's go, dude.
As in, like, it's above Wind Waker. It's above Wind Waker.
That's all I need.
Wow.
Pop says, do you guys feel that great games sell consoles? Yes.
Yes.
William says, do you guys really think it's over for Xbox, or can they turn around? Like, do y'all think they should go third party instead?
It's not over till it's over.
I think they could turn it around, but it's definitely a low point for the brand right now. Cristobal says, I liked lesser known games like Concrete Genie, Days Gone, and Japan Bend Studios. Hopefully Sony can keep talents accordingly. JT Blue says, do you think Tears of the Kingdom will get DLC? And if it does, what do you think it'd be? I do think it'll get DLC.
Yeah.
Absolutely it will.
Yeah, for
It's
sure.
already kind of leaked based off of a few different things that it's getting DLCs.
We'll be able to talk more on what they could do with DLC after we play the game. And hey, coming up next weekend. Gaming says the champions fighting beside you will be the ability you unlock after beating a temple. Saint says, how do you feel about the Nintendo May fiscal report? Ooh, that's gonna be an interesting one. That's this week. I'm curious. I'm more curious what questions they get asked by investors. And then Gaming 101 again here. Thanks, Gaming. And Josie, where can everyone find you?
You can find me Josie Woe on YouTube and Twitter and Twitch. I stream on YouTube and Twitch, and I have videos on YouTube.
What we got coming up? Anything good?
I have kind of a bunch of like random stuff for Tears of the Kingdom.
Okay.
So yeah.
You stream in Tears, right? When that drops.
Yes.
All right, cool. Burns says gamers Xbox can't make great games. Also, gamers Xbox go third party so I can play these games. Bob says the Evil Within 3 must be revealed this year. I'd be okay with that. That'd be cool.
Mikami's leaving, or he's already left.
Yeah, maybe they put in a motion that was already happening. Maybe, I don't know. We'll see. Andy says, sorry, I haven't been around for a while. So much going on. I miss the homies. Glad you're all living well. Shout out to Andy. See here. Edwin says, can we get a laugh track on the soundboard? Thanks. Like just a typical one, a standard one?
Like a
That's
sitcom.
not interesting enough.
We got this one.
That'll probably be
I like
it for
that
now.
one.
That's a good one.
Yum Yum says, I bought a lot of games on my Switch, but I need more storage. 1 terabyte is not enough for me. Will Nintendo use NVMe storage on the next Switch? I think they'll probably just upgrade their classification for SD cards. So they'll go up to, I think what the transfer speed there is like, I think 360 megabytes a second. So they'll storage will continue to advance. Jordan says 3 games a year from first party and exactly much different from Sony, right? And Nintendo, yeah, I give you, but they are a first party only system.
Quality of games.
J Rock says Gear 6 can be a console seller or the end of Xbox. I think a lot of the pressure's on Starfield right now.
Yeah, I don't think Gear 6 is. Yeah.
Rylan says, hey, everybody, has anyone played Club Penguin? It's a great game, and I played a lot of.
That was my favorite game as a kid.
Rip Club Penguin.
Honestly, it's sad.
Was it? I didn't play Club Penguin.
It was
Peak game.
Isn't that the one that banned people for like anything?
Yeah, it was beyond our time.
Oh, okay. What about
It was
Evan?
the best game.
It was browser based.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's a good time.
Evan, where
What?
can I find you?
No. Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, Twitch, Kimmerix Project. If you're into tabletop games, check it out. It's fun.
Yeah, how's that rolling over there?
It's pretty good. Weird amount of viewership. Like I'm not expecting it, and it's still going. So it's like, all right,
Good.
I'll just keep making stuff, I guess.
Hey, check them out over there. Check 'em out. And Jordan's. Oh, this is from Callan Shaw. Said Zelda Ring hype. Hey, Jordan says, also don't get me wrong, I'm not saying they've been great, particularly AAA wise, but when evaluating first party output, not only AAA's count, they should use third party exclusives, though, as Sony does.
I didn't say anything.
Jordan Fisher says, finally got my SpawnCast 300 desk mat in purple after nearly 4 months, 2 wrong mats and 1 lost in transit. Showed up as I gave up hope of getting it. Looks fantastic. Great job in the design, Evan.
Yeah, apparently the company was signing a whole other contract with all these other people when those orders were going up. So like it absolutely I still haven't gotten mine. They actually sent me a second hat because I said it didn't come and they were like, oh, it's the hat you wanted. I was like, great, awesome.
Sean, where can everyone find you?
YouTube.com/Dreamcast. You can find me on RGT85, pissing people off. And we're going live in like 2 minutes after this on RGT Live and Extras. I don't have a link for you. I'm sorry.
Go over to the after show. He'll be there. Also, check everyone out. Thanks everyone for coming by. We'll be back next weekend. Hey, Zelda Tears of the Kingdom next weekend. It'll be out. We'll be talking about it. It'll be fun. So make sure to check us out 9 p.m. Eastern time. We'll see you guys then.
YouTube.com/Dreamcast.